Welcome to the show, everybody. Hi. Happy Wednesday afternoon to you. Thank you for joining me here at Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Get in here, settle in, make yourself comfortable. Today's show will not be an extended marathon like the last two were, as I was dealing with the length of Trump's Georgia babble. You know, we got smaller bites today. Well, I do have one Lindell thing that might linger. Just saying. Yeah. But we don't have to do all of it because anybody can just watch it. And I don't know how boring it will be or how repetitive. That's the problem. Again, I am not jumping into these things under the concept that they're going to be interesting enough to cover. I don't watch them beforehand, so we shall see what we shall see. However, at the very least, you can kind of enjoy the next hour and change or 2 hours with me. We are going to check right now. 25,000 on the nose right now. 25,000. It was eking around at 24,991, and I was like, maybe it'll happen during the show. I wish I had a little fireworks display. Hold on. Do I have anything that resembles fireworks? Let's see if I can. I don't know that I have that. I have that. Look at us. All right. We did it. That's amazing. And what else? Obviously there's something. And then that's all the noise I have. What else is that it? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But apparently us reaching 25,000 blew Trump's wig straight off. We'll see. There it goes. So 25,000 cleared it today. A few days short of our goal, but worth the wait. Absolutely. I can't tell you guys how exciting it is to be a quarter of a way to our next goal. Because you know me, I'm always going to push it. I'm always going to, we're always trying to extend this. 25,000 subscribers. It's a huge deal. I thank you all. It's fantastic. Now, if everybody who follows on Twitch would subscribe over there, no guilt, no problems. But if you have Amazon Prime, it's free. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Just saying, you have Amazon Prime. You'll support Amazon, but you won't support me. What kind of liberal are you? I'm just saying. You have a bank shot. But anyways, so thank you guys for helping me reach that goal. MAGA tears, my friend. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Holly, yesterday, thanks for the cheer. And thanks for gifting the subs, by the way. Tony from Ireland, absolutely thank you for gifting the subs as well on Twitch. It's so funny that on the day I break 25K on YouTube, I'm wearing my Twitch shirt. It just seems to, 100,000 subs makes you a made man. I am slightly concerned that I'll get 100,000. They'll go, congratulations, come down to YouTube headquarters, and we have a special surprise for you. And then you walk into it's a 1970s rec room with a tarp on the ground, and you're like, you motherfuckers. Yes, so we will Twitch the Light Fantastics, and we are here. I can't tell you, this is so excited. I just feel like but I'm not going to coast. I had a momentary feeling that I was going to coast, but I am not. Hold on one second. I gotta hello? Yes. Oh, hi, YouTube. Thanks very much. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, 25,000, right? I'm 52, so it's an inversion of those numbers. And I was trying to hit it by the September 25th, which is my birthday, but we're a little off, but that's fine. You what? You added up the numbers, and it means my channel is canceled. Oh, I see, because it's satanic. But how is 5 and 7? That would be 3 7s. That's 777. That's the G. Oh, I see. I get it. I'm sorry. You're the devil, and I'm. All right. I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Can I finish the show? All right. That's very sweet. I appreciate that. Those guys are fabulous. All right. Welcome. Yes. Hal plus 360. It's going to happen. We will get there. At one point, my goal is to have multiple people in the room and the whole shebang, but that's a ways off. Right now, we're clawing bit by bit to each of these goalposts, and 25K today. We're just gonna own it and enjoy it and be excited about it and revel in it. It is 25,000 on the nose. Hold on. I'm taking a screenshot of this. Is it on 2? Yeah. Hold on. I think it got it. Did it get it? Hope so. Let's see. I have to grab this before it turns. Hold on. My page is acting slow. Computer's acting weird. Here we go. Oh yeah. Okay, good. It did. It made so I can post the I'll post a little congrats thing on Twitter right after this. What the heck a doodle. All right. Yes, we absolutely deserve a Zoltan. On this, does it work on here? I don't know. Yeah, it does. Congratulations to the audience as well, our crowd. You guys did it. Thank you for, how often I'm right? Well, you're equally as right by coming back and subscribing and being here regularly. That's it. You could be absolutely have a perfect batting average as far as truth, reality, and honesty, simply by hanging out. It's a bank shot. It's fantastic. Yes, we could not do it without you guys. And again, if you follow on Twitch, subscribe. I mean, you can. What are you going to do? Hassan Abi has enough subscribers. He gets it. Go spread the love around for a couple of months. I mean, what kind of socialist are you? Dude just bought a $2.4 million house. Help us little guys out who are just, building our show, one absolutely correct brick at a time. How on earth did you have the time to get, let's see, what did it say? 20 subscriber level to coincide with Amoroso Manigault not bound by NDA day. That's some trippy shit. Yeah, it's there's a lot that's done it. I wanted to get it done the day before they vote on the infrastructure bill. Now, I would like to float, let's just get started before I jump into our clips for the day. I would like to present an idea that I tweeted about a couple of days ago that I think is a strong possibility. And it's one of those things where maybe I'm smarter than the people that I'm concerned might be doing something clever. In that, if Mitch McConnell is the mastermind that everybody says he is, which is highly debatable, what he's trying to do right now is whip votes for the infrastructure bill, not the big 3.5 package, which hasn't been worked out yet, but the 1.2, 1.5 trillion dollar infrastructure bill, and whip votes on it on the Republican side, so that if Nancy Pelosi brings it to a vote, even if she's just doing it as a leverage vote, look, we'll bring it up. Here's what's going to happen. What are you guys going to do? If Mitch McConnell, on the down low, tells the Republican caucus that if Nancy Pelosi brings the infrastructure, the bipartisan infrastructure bill to the floor, you vote for it in the House. To vote your conscience, knock yourself out, because there's dozens of Republicans who live in normal districts that would absolutely vote for it if they weren't told not to by the leadership. And if they just let them do that, that's more votes than the Progressive Caucus, the 60 votes that are the hard holdouts. And if it starts to pass, everybody jumps on board. because the Democrats aren't going to want to look like, oh shit, they're making an end run around us. That is a very strong possibility. Do I have any material information that that is the case? No. But from a strategic standpoint, since you know that the one way you could probably stop the $3.5 trillion bill from actually reaching the floor of the Senate and getting passed and all that kind of stuff, or even having the leverage to get there, is to let the $1.2 trillion package for infrastructure pass. Because you've taken the air out of anybody's, there's no leverage. You've taken the air out of their tires. So I think that, whether they are considering that strategy, it would seem silly that they are not. That would seem to be an easy win to get on the board. It is also an awareness, in keeping with Nancy Pelosi's record, that she only brings a bill to the floor if she knows they have the votes to pass it. And that doesn't just mean the Democratic caucus. If they have enough to pass it in the House, she is not going to not let this infrastructure bill get passed because it won't get a second vote. And once it gets to the Senate, they'll add the debt ceiling to the smaller bill, and then it'll get through. And then they'll start hashing out the $3.5 trillion, and that can be done with reconciliation. You could do all the talking and stuff with Manchin and Sinema and put pressure on them and all that kind of stuff, and you got time to do that. That's the theory. With all this good spending, what's the debt ceiling now? I don't know what the current one is. Hal said this much. Somebody say that again. I said something this morning to Tobias regarding procrastination. You have to fall in love with it. Can't get those words out of my head. That's awesome, Liz. So I honestly think that is a possibility. That is, and the only reason you wouldn't be doing that is because you know it would fail. What did they vote on today that passed? Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. Whoops, I'm on the wrong. All right, do that again. I have to. I can type. Yeah. They passed a bill about the ending the crack and powder cocaine sentencing disparity, which these days has no impact on drug policy over the course of the nation. None. Going forward. That hasn't been a legit concern in sentencing in any major way since 96. Now, if they can go back and help some people who had that disparity and shave some time off, because they had crack instead of cocaine, blah, 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 maybe it helps. Maybe. But it's all fentanyl now. There's the biggest concern is opioids and fentanyl. This is I'm glad they did it. That's great. But, so that was the one, and they did pass, the House passed a debt ceiling suspension, but the Senate has to pass it. So there you go. So that's that. And again, more than likely it will be attached to, this would be the strategy. If you're looking to rat fuck the Democrats, this is how you would do it from a Republican side. You would say nobody's going to vote for it. Wait till Nancy Pelosi brings it to the floor for a kill vote, basically a pressure vote, and then tell everybody, okay, vote for it. Go for it now. If it will help you in your district to have infrastructure, vote for it, because it's going to pass the Senate once it gets over here. So better to be behind it. And then they'll all vote for it. It'll get to the Senate. It'll get the same 67 votes that it had before, and they will add the debt ceiling raise to it so that everybody can say, well, I voted for both the things. And it gets the Republicans off the hook, and it passes the smaller infrastructure bill. From a strategic standpoint, that would work. So that I'm just saying, for the record, that's a very strong possibility. That's not my guidance to anyone, but in watching this back and forth, that's the thing that's been dancing around my noodle the most. Yeah. So, Brittany's been freed. That's great. I think technically because she's getting married, you can't do that. Yeah, I mean, you can't control her life. That's a nice thing. I hope she's well. So, yeah, all right. Now, let's get on with our show because I got to say, kids, I, if I may, as I was setting up the clips, and sometimes I'll play a little bit of a clip to see what the audio is like. And this might be off a little bit because I literally, I'll wait to play this, just a black screen because I'll keep you in suspense. As I loaded this one up and pressed play, I laughed out loud just at the intro. And I think that in and of itself, that bodes well for the show, in my mind. Now, it might be all downhill from here. Let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. I don't know that it will sustain this level of hilarity. But you know me, I love a good Fiverr intro. Okay, so here we go. You'll see what I mean. Oh, God. I'm going to... It plays. Sorry, this is the big Disney intro. And then right to this shot of him, just a terrible choice. And Trump doing his like, someone else is getting attention. I can't. Waddle is just gorgeous. Just the fucking swelling. Welcome.
This is the Lindell Report, bringing you news combined with hope by offering practical and achievable...
Yeah, he looks like he's offering practical support. He looks like he's singing. This is amazing. Like, what? Oh, this is what we have to guess right now. I'm going to turn the audio off for a second. Hold on. Here we go. Welcome. You guys. Oh, he's listening to me. I'm here with a felon. And down it was good, but go. Sorry. I don't know why he's on a stage, but he just looks like he's singing. The band left 10 minutes ago. Yay! Thank you. The acapella stylings of Mike Lindell. Shit. He can sing his own backup because he'll go like, I met her on a Monday and my heart stood still. Somebody told me that her name was Jill. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Let's do it for real. Yeah, okay. First of all, the music is loud. There's a slapback echo. I don't think it's me. I don't know what the shit that is. I'm going to check to make sure it's not me. Although, it has to be me with the crack tech team that he's got at Lindell TV.
Big announcement here I'm going to be telling you all about. I have General Flynn on tonight with me as my guest, my good friend, and we're going to talk about this very, very huge announcement. Why don't I put it right?
Oh, it's going to be great. A huge announcement. This might be the greatest announcement ever given from a double at the Ramada Inn.
Out there, everybody's been waiting since I got that.
Yeah, like months. TikTok, motherfucker.
First piece of machine evidence on January 9th, and we made absolute
machine evidence
proof on February 5th. It came out. Absolute proof, everybody. And
yeah, one would have thought you would have looked into the stuff a little further before making said documentary movie thing, whatever you want to call it, you might want to vetted the information a little bit, just a bit, and that way you would have gone, maybe Absolute Proof is not the best name for the show.
That time, if you remember, at the end of that, I said, you know what?
What?
We are going to get this to the Supreme Court, and they are going to vote 9-0 to accept it and look at this evidence. Well, everybody, and we'd hoped it was going to be sooner, but
it was hope. It wasn't that you were saying it was going to be sooner. It was just hope. Hope. This is all hope language.
This announcement. I talked to all the lawyers today. 100% we are getting this before the Supreme Court before Thanksgiving. That is locked in stone, everybody. And they said, well, why not tomorrow, Mike? And I'll say, well, because we're going to hear tonight what we've been doing for this to make it the strongest.
Yeah, what you want to do is anchor it in there that you are going to the Supreme Court, then get your case in order. I mean, it's just the Supreme Court. I mean, it's Brett Kavanaugh. Sorry, Brat Kavanaugh, if I'm going to quote Trump properly. Hold on. I think I want to make sure I get the pronunciation right. Hold on. Get over there. You shrink down, you crazy little screen. There you go. Yeah, I think it's in the Trump only. Is that where we are?
Q-snatch.
Oh, no, that's not it. Where do we have it? I have to have it somewhere. There we go. Fellow Americans.
I had to beat off.
No, that wasn't it either. No, that's not. Oh, man. Which one is it?
Go.
Oh, no. Here it is.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Brat Kavanaugh. My favorite brat. All right, here we go.
Case, because it's the most important case to our freedom, I believe, in history. And
well, obviously, you didn't have really a dog in the Brown v. Board kind of fight, or Roe v. Wade, let's just say.
We're going to go through that, how important it is to our country.
Oh, yeah.
And why don't I bring in General Flynn? Wow. Thanks for coming on my show tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're both in hotel rooms, and there's a lot of coming that goes on in hotel rooms.
And Brandon and
from my experience,
OAN, and we really appreciate OAN allowing this show to be shown on the OAN network to all of its viewers. I will tell you what everybody in this country knows is that our election.
Everybody. I don't even know why you need to talk. We know it. You guys know it. Everybody in this country knows.
Processes and systems are totally broken. They're corrupted. And
well, no, not all of them. Just the Maricopa County voting machines. You fucked those up. Yeah, you broke those, and they have to get new ones because you're untrustworthy and insane.
We've seen that the amount of evidence, the extraordinary amount of evidence that can
extraordinarily lacking amount of evidence. Sure,
used to flow out, and of course we're paying very close attention to Maricopa County, but there are other places around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course we're looking at Maricopa, but there are so many other places that have so many. I mean, this is like, what happened in Maricopa.
Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Of course, Georgia's had extraordinary amount of evidence discovered in places like DeKalb County. I think there was 45,000 fraudulent ballots, which would throw the election in just Georgia out alone. So,
well, no, it would just mean that Trump lost Georgia by 45,000 more votes. Just for the record. Since they seem to be going on record all the time that any fraudulent vote they find was a Biden vote, I'm just going to take the counterpoint on it and just insist, since I don't have any evidence well, I have evidence that they don't exist because it's absurd, and the Secretary of State and everybody's already gone over this a dozen times and whatever. But for the record, anytime they make that point, I'm just going to make the point that those were Trump votes, and that's more votes he lost. So he lost by even more. Because I just flip a coin. If there's a contest, a hot dog eating contest, a backgammon tournament, I don't know, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, which one is going to cheat so that to make sure he wins? Which one will not be afraid to cheat at every turn to guarantee it? Which one? Which one? Just think about it for a while.
One of the things that I want us to keep in mind, though, for the viewers, is that this was an attack.
Sorry, viewer. It's just me. I'm the only person watching this shit. Everybody else that used to watch that show is either completely demoralized because they've been let down again and again and again, and it's just the three of you and me. And my audience is watching it, but we're not really watching it. We're watching it like, oh, shit. So viewer, but the viewer.
By a foreign enemy, and they had domestic support. They had domestic support in this country. But this was an attack by a foreign entity, and this is China.
So China did this with Americans helping them. So there are traitors among us that are doing the bidding of China. They tend to be, I guess, black single moms who volunteer a lot. I mean, that group has always been sketchy. I think anybody who does a lot of volunteering, communist.
And when all of it's examined, and we look at this thing, for every American that absolutely believes in our Constitution, believes in the American dream, believes in the American way of life.
That would be me. Okay. This is for me. This is a message for me. Thanks, Mike Flynn. Yes.
I don't care what party you're a part of, Democrat, Libertarian, Republican. This is an American issue.
Right.
And I think for all of us, I believe very strongly that, this is not about a person. This is about our country. And if
that's you're only saying that because Trump's a loser. That's not fair. And I don't mean the election. I mean in general, that he's a shitty person and he makes everyone around him uncomfortable, even you, and you don't really like him, but he was your ticket and he gave you a pardon, so you got to kind of kiss his ass. But
we look at it like that, we will solve this problem. And this thing that Mike is talking about now, this legal action going in front of the Supreme Court here in the next month or so. Or
so. Give yourself some wiggle room.
I think it's going to have an extraordinary precedent in history for our country to be able to move forward. And the Supreme Court has to act on this evidence. There's an abundance of it, and they have to act on it.
No.
And I believe, as Mike says, it's going to...
No, there isn't. It's not even that, no, they don't, which they absolutely don't. No, there is not. I watched I watched the second and third days on my own time after after Summer's birthday weekend, just to see if he recovered anything that I missed and all that stuff. Nothing. His own hackers are like, yeah, it's a bunch of shit. There's nothing there. I mean, this is devolved into three randos pimping this idea on a TV channel they had to make themselves.
A 9-0 judgment, and I think that they're going to come out with some really strong findings.
Yeah, you're a moron. That's never going to happen. I know people hate to commit to things these days and everybody's afraid. Nah, there is no situation where they take it up, much less 9-0. Fuck off with this nonsense. You can file whatever the fuck you want with the Supreme Court, and they're going to reject it because you didn't go through the due process in the different states, and you didn't get rendered a verdict one way or another in the other states. And you say, well, it's a national thing. Well, then do it in multiple states and get back to us. Nonsense. It's never going to happen. And the 9-0 part is, I swear to God, they would be better off just making the case that all the conservatives are going to get it, and because Trump put on people we can trust, they're going to go with our vote. And the liberals will never go for this, but they know better. Even though they know it, they're not going to vote for it, right? You'd be better off making that argument. This is just dumb.
Oh, and that's right. And you know, when we talk about, I like the fact you talked about China there. Everybody's seeing that now. If we go back to November 4th and in the month of November and December, you guys, there's so much evidence that you could pass out one little piece to every 300 and some million people in the United States, and it would convict every one of us for life. But
what the fuck does that mean? He said this at other events too. How is he going to who's going to hold these trials? The other guilty people? Members of the jury who are also guilty of the crime the person is accused of committing, as well as the DA and the judge myself. The bailiff did this too. We're just going to take turns in jail. What the fuck does that mean? What do you mean? I mean, I know Mike Flynn is closing his eyes right now going, just get through the dumb parts. Just get through the parts that are just solely like unsellable bullshit. Just hold. What? What is that? All right.
the evidence, nobody would look at it back then. Nobody looked at it. There was a complete shutout by the media, by the Supreme Court, everybody. Nobody looked at it. But this was different. The evidence we have now that we got on the 9th is this is the cyber forensic evidence that all 50 states were hacked. And right now,
No. He showed no such thing. Red states are going, what the fuck are you talking about? All 50 states. This is because now they're going for, and this is probably the root of all this, is that Trump's too dumb to give a shit about the Electoral College, interestingly enough. But that losing the popular vote to Hillary and then losing it by almost triple, well, actually more than triple, from Biden is just the biggest, it's the thing that cuts the deepest. Trump is so freaking out about this that they've got to go out there and find, it's not just that he won the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. Overwhelmingly, they have to believe this. Because if he's not the most popular man in America, which he is literally on no one's metric does he rank that way at nationwide. Like no pollster has found that to be anywhere close to true. But they need to believe that. Otherwise, they've been following this dickhead around in circles. And he won't talk to them unless they're trying to convince him that he won the popular vote as well. That's the part that he's like grinding on the most.
State on board as the plaintiffs. That's what I've been doing, General. Is I've been meeting everybody. I want everybody out there to know
that you've been meeting with the same red states you met with for the last 3 fucking months.
The cyber symposium, when we had that, it was they did a big hit job today, and one of the bad media did, but I called it a home.
No hit job strikes hard at the heart of the Cyberama more than the actual Cyberama itself.
And it is a home run because it accomplished the two things I wanted.
It's an interesting kind of a home run. It's the only home run in history where it was a strike that ricocheted off of the dugout, knocked the batter out, and then flew into the stands. And in a totally delusional state from a fresh head wound, he ran around the bases while everyone cheered him like Rudy.
Accomplished. One is it united. All 50 states were represented there. And two, and no one got the $5 million because all it was...
Because you changed the standards for what it meant. It had to be one of your approved people.
You had to prove it wasn't from the 2020 election, all the data I had.
All of it. All of it. You couldn't just look at whatever they gave you. Like, give me a random sample. This isn't from it. Yeah, but some of it is. What, I have to look through all, whatever, 20 terabytes of this bullshit? Give me another random slice. Okay, that's not from 2020. That's not from the election. Thanks, McJet. Yes, we have hit 25,000 subscribers. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Nobody got the 5 million, and the media went completely silent. They all pulled a Fox on us. Right after the symposium, they all went Fox. That'll be a new slogan when you don't talk to people. You go Fox.
So Fox.
Let's go Fox. Let's not talk.
I love that.
We're going.
Yeah, I support it as well. Like, please shit all over Fox. Please do that every time. I'm totally good. This is, a broken clock is right twice a day. Every time Lindell hits this fuck Fox nonsense, I'm for it. I feel like I should just sit back and cross my arms and go, "You go, girl."
Fox, I used
Fox,
to be that. Fox, yeah. Yeah. But shame on Fox.
Wow.
They're a disgrace is what they are. Anyway, but after the symposium, everyone knew for the first time, I think people thought that, hey, we just got the 6 swing states that, that were hacked because the election stopped in the middle of the night.
It did not stop in the middle of the night. It just fucking didn't. Like, this is one of the zombie lies that people even just shrug off. Right? Yes, I'm such a rebel. On the day I hit 25K on YouTube, I'm wearing this shirt. The irony.
All 50 states were hacked. We showed that at the Cyber Symposium.
Well, yeah, by Trump, obviously to pad his votes and to make it look like he, because he knew he was losing. He was losing everywhere. The polls they were getting back were showing him losing in horribly in Wisconsin, horribly in Texas, and so he had to buy a bunch of votes. And
What?
So clearly, what he did was he made he basically purchased a lot of fake votes, and this is how he did it. And honestly, and then he sent us an assassin with a tangerine.
What?
So that happened.
And it's like this, like I said this before. If you
Wait a minute, you're repeating yourself? When did that start?
Minnesota and you said, wow, Biden.
Wait, you're from Minnesota?
3 million to Donald Trump 100,000, everybody would say, I don't care who you are, say that's impossible. So when you have numbers that are impossible, you have to dilute the whole United States. You got
to dilute the whole United States. You got to add just add more water. Really, what you've got is you've got a stew when you want a soup, and that can happen to any chef. You can realize that you've just overdone it with stock. And you need to dilute the entire nation. Basically, that's why God is flooding parts of America right now. He's trying to dilute.
And take it all in one place. And that's what they did. They used the 2010 voter rolls. So when they did this, back then, General, the public, if you especially a Democrat, I have friends that are liberals and Democrats.
Yeah, they all work for you, and yet strangely, your employees all seem to tell you, yeah, boss, I don't know what he's doing. Anyways, can I get back to work now? You're freaking me out. You're spitting crack on my lapel.
Some of my 2,700 employees are liberals and Democrats. Well,
Yeah, you can tell, because they're the ones that every time you turn around go, hey, boss, how's it going?
And you couldn't tell them that there was...
Catbird, this is absolutely right. This is Mike Lindell's version of a Sir story.
Because they didn't want to believe it. Their party won. Their party won. Even some of the Republicans.
And many Republicans.
Many Republicans, especially the party, the party. But a lot of them will have explaining to do, because I think there's a little bit of, you can't explain why they were such obstructionists. But I'm talking...
Well, sure you could. I mean, one of two things. Either the Republicans who didn't overturn the election are indeed recognizing that the head of their party is a delusional sociopath with what most people would call narcissistic personality or disorder, but I would actually say is an inferiority complex that's become pathological, and that he could have won fairly easily just by not being a lunatic, a liar, and pretending that COVID wasn't going to be a problem and chasing the market down a hole. And he didn't, and he fucked up and he lost. And it could be that. And that they want to gear themselves up for maybe next year winning some seats, and then in 2024 posting a candidate that actually can win a nationwide vote and shift not just the narrative of the internal stuff in their party, but the vision of the party as a whole, and kind of bring people in. They're those people, which I would say is, depending on where we're talking about, in the heartland or in the Congress, 40% of the remaining Republicans, or Republicans who refuse to act on the Lindell evidence, so-called. They're obviously aliens that eat baby milkshakes, and are speak Chinese and are communists just for the heck of it, just because that's what you do when you visit Earth. Thank you, Robert.
About people. If we just talk about the people.
Yeah.
I did it before, everybody, and I'm going to show you the example I used the other night. Pretend we have...
Yeah, never say anything new. I think that's the important thing we've learned from Mein Kampf.
Bulls here. We have two bulls and...
Two bulls. Okay, so you have two bulls, and one of them's balls are in this hand. Okay, gotcha.
Everybody here... 100% believes and sees the evidence. They really looked into it. They actually looked at it and said, wow, this election was stolen. Okay.
Or they looked at what you presented and said, that's the other bull. I'm getting ahead of you. Go ahead.
The people never go back to the other bull. It's been a constantly dumping of this bull into this bull.
What's the other bull? And how's the water squirting into the other? What's actually squirting out of the bowl full of people on this side? Are they peeing on the other people? Are the other people peeing on them? I don't know. Are you in a Russian hotel room? Is this code?
The more stuff that's came out and the more time that's went by, everyone's going, wow. Even the media trying to block it, all the evidence has just been more and more shown. But the big thing that's happened is the terrible things that are going on in our country, General, all the things which I want you to address, all these things that are going on, these executive orders that have hurt our country.
Oh, these terrible executive orders. Oh, let me, Mike, thanks for bringing that up, man. We talked about this yesterday, but like this one's, I like this one, hold on. Biden executive order. Like this one's friggin' horrible. I mean the amount of well, let me see. Like do it. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a close this window, continue to site. Like you probably hate this one, right, Mike? I mean, this is going to destroy our country. If our country is China or Russia, I suppose. But this is this one of the executive orders you're talking about, Mike? This one? This guy right here? This here? Now again, it's not like Trump couldn't have signed this executive order, written it up himself, right? Is there anything about this executive order that could not have been executed, written, signed, put into effect last year, or the year before, or the year before that, or the year before that, or on day 2 of the Trump administration? Could this executive order to truly make Made in America mean Made in America? Could Trump have done this? I mean, physically, we've seen him sign his name. That's pretty much, it's not like he sits in on meetings or did at any point and comes up with policy. The one policy he did have, which was, of course, let's see. I'm not saying Trump didn't have some ideas. Let's see. like he definitely had input at these meetings. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so this is like for example, let me get this. It'll come up in a couple of seconds. Trump didn't always just sit there in the meetings or not show up because he was golfing. That was about 80% of the time. Sometimes he was there and he had ideas. Like, let's say this one right here.
18, 19, or 20. You have to wait till you're 21, but you can buy the gun, the weapon used in this horrible shooting at 18. You are going to decide. The people in this room pretty much are going to decide. But I would give very serious thought to it. I can say that the NRA is opposed to it. And I'm a fan of the NRA. I mean, there's no bigger fan. I'm a big fan of the NRA. They want to do it. These are great people. These are great patriots. They love our country. But that doesn't mean we have to agree on everything. It doesn't make sense that I have to wait till I'm 21 to get a handgun, but I can get this weapon at 18. I don't know. So I was just curious as to what you did in your bill.
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Look, I think
Hold on. You know what? You should.
You're afraid of the NRA.
No, not an issue.
Because you're afraid of the NRA, he says. Hold on. This will be good. Wait 1 second.
We are
Bring this back over. Go away. All right, hold on. Yeah, here you go. This is the other one too. Hold on. Here we go. Let's play this guy right here. Of course, it has an ad before it. Son of a. This is another one which I'm sure that our pro-Trump maggots and trolls that show up in the chat room. I welcome you guys. You increase the spread of the show. I mean, it really is no way that we can do this. But here you go, like this guy right here. Hold on.
Well, the category you spoke about, Mr. President, gun violence restraining orders. They're called. California actually has a version of this, and I think in your meeting with governors earlier this week, individually and.
By the way, if you missed that part, Mike Pence is talking about a gun seizure law for domestic violence perpetrators that is already on the books in California. And what you're about to see is Trump going further than California and Beto O'Rourke.
As a group, we spoke about states taking steps, but the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process, that no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court.
Okay, did you just see that, by the way? That was the moment where he had an idea. Watch when he says due process and watch Trump's eyes. This is where Trump thinks, this is where the art of the deal's going to kick in. This is where I know something that they don't know.
If an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others, allow due process, that no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times, by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court.
By the way, Second Amendment purists who support Donald Trump, go fuck yourself. You're an idiot. Because to stop what he viewed as a crime wave, he would start implementing policies like this if he'd have stayed in office. Just so you know. Barack Obama would never suggest anything this egregiously anti-Second Amendment. No, Bernie Sanders wouldn't suggest this, for fuck's sake. That's why he's he's an independent from Vermont. They got a shit ton of guns. There is no point where Bernie Sanders is going to suggest a pre-due process seizure of weapons from average citizens. You know what before due process means? Too fucking late. I'm just saying. Yeah, I think at 25,000, it opens up the gates for the trolls to come in. But hey, I'm glad they're here so they can see it straight from him. Find me footage of Biden or Obama saying, we're going to take people's guns before they get due process. Just remove their guns and then give them a day in court. Where'd I get this clip? This is from 2018. This happened a while back.
The due process procedures, I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Okay, first of all, I mean, beyond the fact that he's a fucking moron. That is the due process in this, by the way, is that the guy's been found guilty of or has a restraining order from domestic violence. And from that restraining order, then they go get the guns. What Trump is suggesting, remember the Republican freak out about believe all women and Brett Kavanaugh and all that stuff, and women are just going to make stuff up and blah, blah, blah. What Donald Trump is suggesting in that clip is that, in theory, in this domestic violence example that they were giving, that any woman in the country whose boyfriend, or current or ex, or husband, current or ex, has weapons, she can just make a phone call and the feds will show up and steal his shit. Just take his guns. Just take his property without her having to file a police report, without her having to go through getting a restraining order. None of that shit. Like, can you imagine if, we did this a lot with Obama and Biden, obviously. We'll continue this. But can you imagine if Obama had said something like this? It would be the only story on Fox and whatever subsidiaries for a year. It would be the clip they would use nonstop. And this is for the trolls and maggots who are out there who support Trump because they think he's good on God and guns and energy and whatever the fuck. When really he was just doing we'll find out. He was doing insider trading on oil futures and gas futures and shit, and that's why he was pushing that. So there you go. But I just want you guys to know that this is your guy. This is your guy. All right.
Democrats hurt Republicans, hurt people in general. Now people over here, all people.
Is there a third bowl that contains all people? I don't know how this analogy goes. Is there a lazy Susan where we can put all these bowls?
Their eyes are getting opened and they're going, wow, the election was stolen. It's out there, and they're more apt to say, hey, let's look at it. And now it's over 70%.
Well, some people are saying, yeah, let's look at it because every time you've looked at it, Biden got more votes. It's becoming a gag now. And if you want to do it in red states, if they want to spend their own fucking money, knock yourself out. All it's going to do is pad Biden's win. It's all it has done every fucking time. Maricopa County spent more money than anybody on this stuff. Trump spent $3 million of his own campaign money to give Biden more votes in Wisconsin. Then they go to Arizona. It'll be the same shit in Georgia. It'll be the same shit. Because you've got Republicans who are volunteering, who are doing everything they can to kick Biden votes that are coming in through the mail to the curb. Everything. And being assholes about signatures, not wanting to cure ballots, not calling people up and go, Edna, did you sign this? Yes, I goddamn well did. We got to get that orange. Thank you, click. Everywhere they go. At this point, any positive you're hearing from Democrats, like, yeah, fucking go for it. Knock yourself out. He just lost 300 more votes in Arizona from this whole thing. This has been going on for months. 3.5 months this bullshit went on. There you go. Yes, please. You know what? Yes, please do Ohio, Florida, Texas, and Kentucky next. Is there a GoFundMe? Some of us will pay for it. And is it a bit weird that the Republicans in those states are like, no, look, no. Don't look. Don't, whatever you do, don't look. Why? You trying to protect Biden? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to protect Biden.
They say over 70% of the country believes this election was taken, and it was.
Yeah. Oh, here's
they would be? Who would they be?
and it really is it fits into two buckets. One is the
bullshit bucket, and the other one is the bucket of deplorables, I think, or that was a basket. That's a good point.
domestic assault by this administration on many domestic areas that all of us have to sort of on our daily lives, and then the foreign policy or the foreign actions that this administration has taken.
Oh, you mean like giving Australia nuclear sub technology to push back against China? Again, something Trump could have done. Why didn't he? Too busy having fish delight McDonald's sandwiches with Kim Jong-un?
Our country at grave risk. And when I use the word grave, audience, that's the strongest word that I can use.
That's not even close to true.
Talk about the foreign actions and the foreign policy that are ongoing around the world. So, and I'll just rattle a number of these things off. We have the health crisis with this COVID confusion. We have the election.
With this COVID, we have a health crisis with this COVID confusion scare. Sorry, what's the crisis besides Republican voters are dying hand over fist?
That we have been talking about for months now, and the reams of evidence. Mike has presented a lot of this. There's been a lot that have been presented by.
Well, no, he's been trying to ream people with evidence. That's different. He's basically presenting the Trump with the analingus of evidence.
Various other members of state legislatures and other people out there that are fighting for it. There's this incredible education indoctrination that people are seeing in our country. The illegal immigration and these incredible pictures of the people under the bridge in Del Rio, Texas. And
sorry, what people under the bridge? What people? 12,000 of them got asylum, their whole families. They got NGOs working with them. They're going to be able to apply. It'll take them a little while, but they've been released either to relatives or other people in the country. 6,000 were directly flown back to Haiti and dropped off, and the rest of them went back to Mexico to try and wait it out or get a job there. Yeah. And the bridge is clear, and so is the land underneath it. Took them a week. All these people showed up. Biden administration went, all right, how do we handle this? Took them a week. They didn't have to build 500 miles of wall, which apparently don't work.
And elsewhere around the border, just incredible numbers. I mean, we're talking about millions of people coming into our country, and they're being planted all over the place. We have this rising.
Yeah, where are they? Where are they being planted? They're being planted like trees of sedition? You mean the 30,000 Afghans that we were supposed to get out over the last 3 years, but Trump personally hamstrung the SIV program?
Crime, yet we have an administration that wants to continue to defund the police. We should back the blue.
By the way, no one's suggesting defund the police. Cory Booker mocked it openly. A Senate bill to not defund, an amendment that went into a bill to not defund the police or to not give federal funds to any area that does defund the police, quote unquote, passed 99-0.
Defund the police. And we cannot have the rising.
140 police officers were wounded on January 6th. And according to this asshole, they had it coming.
Drugs in our streets, censorship, the cancel culture.
Just read the list of buzzwords the Heritage Foundation sent to your email inbox.
Start talking about Afghanistan. You start talking about the rise of ISIS, Al Qaeda, North Korea firing missiles. I mean, we have the Chinese are threatening Taiwan.
Wait. As I understand it, you can't make a ballistic missile in under 7 months of that quality. So they must have been working on it in secret the entire time they were giving Trump a hand job. And yet, that couldn't have happened. Art of the deal. He knows the stuff better than the people who know the stuff.
They see us as they see the administration as weak and apathetic. We've got,
Who does? Does China see the administration as weak and apathetic right now? Is that how they saw the 25 nuclear subs that Australia is going to get with UK and US technology? They saw that as weak and apathetic. By the way, do you think any of these assholes are following like the Evergrande financial situation in China, or the collapse or the flooding there, or the COVID stuff that's going on over there, or like genuinely? Because I know everybody loves to, like, they've got this big like China balloon in the sky that inflates the threat of China to an extraordinary amount, that they're just going to march over us and blah, blah, blah. It's a talking point straight out of the CCP, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. They're a mess, especially right now.
The Iranians, who are still, leading state sponsor of terror, and this administration is catering to them. I mean,
they're catering to them. I hope they're serving those little canapes. Do they have the cannolis, the mini cannolis with the cream filling? Those are so good. Probably the Iranians will eat them all, though, and by the time the tray gets around to me, there'll be nothing left but like shrimp that's been out in the sun. Catering.
All of these things, and so now people are looking and saying, "Wait a second. There's no way in the world that we voted for this. We did not vote for these." I mean,
yeah, that's how it went. That's how it's going down. You know what? Your audience on Lindell TV is probably 90% disaffected Democrats.
At almost 5.5%, 6% inflation right now.
I'm sorry, I made everybody want a cannoli. I apologize. Now that's all you can think about.
We have the current government is about to end its fiscal year, and the government right now is going to be challenged in these next few weeks. The ability for us to continue to pay our bills are going to be we're going to be at a severe disadvantage here in the coming weeks. Not in the
yeah. Why is that? Is that because of the current administration and the Democrats holding fast and not wanting to raise the debt ceiling? Why is that? And by the way, whose bills are they actually paying? Are they paying in this bill, in this raising of the debt limit? Is this raising of the debt limit about the money that's spent during the Biden administration so far? What is it in relation to? This is about the interest payments on money that was spent before. This is the Republican Party not wanting to pay for Trump's debt. That's it. Because that's what this is. The raising of the debt ceiling is to pay for the debt already accrued.
Years of an administration in the coming weeks. So we have all of these things in play, and you look back, so all those people...
What the fuck does we have all these things in play? We have all these talking points. They're all dying a horrible death.
That, said something about Donald J. Trump, President Trump. I mean, many people are going, boy, what are we, look at what we're missing. I mean, look at what we're missing.
Yeah, that's exactly. Totally.
So what I look at is I look at leadership. This is not about, not liking a person or disliking somebody. This is
right, because they have a real hard problem because most people like Joe Biden. This is just from a marketing standpoint, understand why this talking point comes up all the time and why Trump can't even do it. Trump doesn't even dislike Biden. It drives him crazy.
Really about what's best for our country. What is best for our country?
Well, the voters chose last year and decided and not Trump. Many people voted yes Biden, but a lot of people voted on your side, not Trump.
What Lindell just talked about was that there's some some polls that have been out here lately, and they've gone from like 40% back around the 9th of January or right after the 20th of January, 40-something percent. I think it was 42 or 43%. Now we're up around 70% of the nation because of all of the evidence and all the other things that I just laid out.
Yeah, not even close. Again, this goes to that like 9-0 bullshit. 70% of the country does not want a redo of the election or buys it at all. I mean, the audience for Lindell's television network is not 70% of Americans by any stretch. Like, dude, dial it the fuck back. Say 46%. And people go, oh, 46%. That's approaching 50. There might be a there, right? But when you overshoot that much, everybody knows you're out of your goddamn mind. 70% is a majority, right? Yeah, I would qualify.
Have come out, and people are going, yeah, this definitely doesn't look right. This doesn't feel right. I believe that
it actually looks right and it feels right if you're an adult. It's exactly, I mean, the difficulties getting out of Afghanistan, the horrible stuff that's come from it, both in the the vetting of the Afghans bringing over here, and the violence in leaving, and the swiftness of the collapse of the government and the military there, is 100% why the whole thing wasn't done before. Everybody knew it. Everybody, 4.5%, yeah. Everybody knew this would be a shit show. Trump even said so at his goddamn rally. I knew the second we leave, I knew the government was going to collapse. The second we left. So what? Stay forever? Well, apparently yes, because then he goes, May 1st wasn't really a date. We could have taken 1 year, 2 years. We could have taken 5 years, 2 months. It wouldn't have mattered. However long we want to stay, we could stay.
Election fraud occurred.
Yeah, I thought that Trump cutting his own hair thing is pretty hysterical. Because I cut my own hair when I cut it. I don't cut it anymore, really. I trim the split ends a little bit, But Trump apparently uses it, according to Stephanie Grisham in her new book, he uses a pair of scissors that look like, that's so big it looks like you could cut a ribbon at a mall opening.
November of 2020. Right. So now the big question is, what do we do about it? And this gets back to Mike's actions from all of the various documentaries, all the various pieces of information and evidence, and all these other fights that are going on. From I'll finish on this note for this.
Just Mike, wrap it up.
Point on the 24th of September, which is this Friday, there is a very, very important hearing by the Senate of Arizona, the state legislature, the state Senate of Arizona.
Oh, okay. This is before it came out.
24. It's an open hearing. I understand it's going to be live. It is a time for people like Senator Fan. When we wrote a letter today and we published it online. I'll send that out.
Whoa, you published it online? How do you publish something online? That's amazing. Who lets you do that? You have to know somebody. You've got to.
You hear Brandon at the end of this thing. Maybe Frank's speech can publish it. Maybe
sure. Yeah, I think they can find room on Frank's speech to publish it. There's probably a couple of bits laying around.
Publish it, but it's basically a letter.
Basically, it's basically a letter. That's how I describe all my letters. It's basically a letter.
This is a moment in history, a moment in U.S. history where we cannot miss this moment. And
well, yeah, look, there are moments where you can't miss the moment, and then there's moments when you can miss the moment. And this is not one of those moments. The second kind of moment, not the first kind of moment. Give me a moment. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you're talking about.
Strength, let's show courage, and let's show accountability for our actions.
Okay, yeah, well then, rip up your pardon and go back to jail. I mean, what could be easier, my friend? Mike Flynn, show accountability. Rip up your pardon and go back to jail.
We are now at a point in time where our country is diverging. Instead of converging together, we are diverging either.
Yeah, which one, which group is quote unquote diverging? The folks that want to pay the bills that Trump racked up, even though we disagreed with a lot of what he was doing, or the group that doesn't want to pay for their party's debt from when they were in charge. The part of the country that is saying, we as Texas and Idaho should secede and become singular nation states without the protections of the United States and the military and the ports, and that would surround us and make us incapable of trading with the rest of the state, and so we would be overrun by Mexico in terms of Texas, and then Idaho, which would try to be Canada light, I guess, in this. Which side is diverging?
We're going, as I always say, we're either going to move towards socialism, communism, and Marxism, or we're
Well, if you had your dream, sure.
going to continue down this path to this beautiful experiment in democracy called a constitutional republic.
Well, we are continuing down that route. That's why we had an election last year that you lost.
The edge, we are on the edge right now.
Now, on the edge of you trying to do the white supremacy hand signal, even though I refuse to let you get that and keep it. What's this? We are on the edge? Fuck off.
So we're on the edge, America, because we have allowed people to be infiltrated into our country, and we have allowed a nation state in the guise of China to be able to operate and infiltrate into our systems. I mean, we know that these various machines and these various...
So, excuse me, if China picked our president, then why the fuck did they pick the guy that... Hold on. See if I can find this, if I may. Australia, nuclear subs. All right. So, there's something about Europe laughing at us and our, feel free to hunt the trolls. Although if they don't say anything, violent or grotesque, they can hang around. Again, trolls, I gotta say, thank you for being here. Thank you. Because you spread the show to more people than the regular audience does. That's right. That's how the algorithm works. It's like you open up new neural pathways on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and Twitter. That's how it works. They don't care. Facebook and YouTube especially don't care if you like me or not. That's the amazing thing. We learned this lesson very early. That and not only if you just watch, then I get a little bit of help from that. Like if you just hate watch, which some of you are doing. Hi. But if you type anything, what that tells YouTube and Facebook is, oh my God, this dude is engaging. Therefore, people are more apt to stick around and watch the ads, and then the ad rev cost goes up. That's genuinely how it works. I don't make the news, I just report it. And so, all the trolls that visit us in our chat room and they're on Facebook and the like, the ones that aren't just, violent, disgusting, which you gotta go. I mean, behave yourself. You're in public. You know what I mean? If you're going to start, acting like an anti-mask, Delta passenger, then obviously it's an issue. But in general, if you're just hanging around and you're just like, you suck, honest to God, thank you. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs down. Please don't, because remember, the algorithm, that's how we hit 25K today. It really is. It's the power of the algorithm, and you're playing your part. I want to thank you, trolls, for being here, because the rest of us are here because we want to be here. So it's a good use of our time. You're here you're giving me time, me, time you will never get back. Ever. That's the thing about time, man. It's gone. It's just gone. And there's no refunds when it comes to time, kids. And the worst thing is that while you're sitting there and you're hate watching the show and you're, who's this guy and blah, 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 whatever you want to say, And by the way, the who's this? Who are you to say? I mean, it's my channel. That's who I am. That's the end all be all. What do you got? Are you lacking for places on the internet to go? Have you run out? Have you watched all the internet? It's just dumb. But it's my channel, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. If you don't like freedom of speech, if you don't like freedom, then just leave America. All right? Those of you that aren't already out of America because you're Macedonian trolls posing as Americans, but whatever. You like that sound? That was good. But the nice thing, the other benefit, trolls, to you being here is you waste your time and you never get it back. You contribute to the positive expansion of the show and the algorithm. And also, you are force-fed. Think of it as being intubated with truth. You thought the thing was a hoax, you didn't believe in COVID, and now you're in a hospital bed FaceTiming somebody going, I made a mistake, as they stick a tube down your throat. This is the news equivalent. As I explained to you, along with the Trump wanted to take your guns without going to court ever, and wanted that to be part of his policy. What the fuck? Is that the United States made a deal between the UK and Australia to give Australia nuclear-powered submarines so that they could push back against China. Again, something that Trump absolutely could have done. He could have done it. He absolutely could have done it. He didn't lack the pen and paper. It's not like people didn't know this was a possibility. Right? Why didn't he do it? Why? Is it because when he stopped the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, from going forward, he got millions of dollars into his slush fund account in China, and he took $15 million out in cash, which seems weird for a billionaire. Like, you would think that was like chump change if you were actually a billionaire. I mean, hey, $15 million buys you a lot of stuff, but still. Maybe you could wait 4 years or whatever to take the money out so you wouldn't draw attention. But apparently he needed it. Took it out the very next day. But, I mean, this isn't even debatable. There's nothing in this that's like, you're making something up just to make Trump look bad, blah, blah. No, he absolutely could have done this. He could have absolutely arranged something like this. He was in he had a better relationship technically with Boris Johnson than Biden did. They saw eye to eye. Boris Johnson is a Trumper in a lot of ways. So why the fuck? And Australia, by the way, is very conservative in a lot of ways. And it was Biden that brought them together? I'm starting to think the art of the deal is bullshit. She suggests I move to North Korea. I don't want to move to North Korea because I don't like Trump, and I'm afraid that would be one of the places I was most likely to see him. Trump has friends in North Korea. I have no friends in North Korea. I wish well for the North Korean people and that they could get out from under Kim Jong-un and live freely like the South Koreans do. But, and by the way, this whole take your guns without due process, that's really fucking Russian and North Korean. But this deal, was Trump afraid of upsetting Macron? Hein? Oui? Pas de problème. Hein? Oui? There's nothing about this that he couldn't have done. Except he was too stupid, or too weak, or too ignorant of the world, or not solution-oriented, didn't know fuck one about geopolitics in this regard. None of it. And again, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming in a second, but our trolls are needing special attention tonight, apparently. They're very upset. At what point if China attacked us, I don't know which trolls you are. You might be the ones that believe that China created the disease and the virus in a lab. That one, right? Yeah. Okay. So if you're that crowd, then for the record, Donald Trump was the president of the United States during the biggest bioweapon attack against the United States in history that killed over 500,000 people. He ignored it for months while he signed a trade deal with the very people that sent it over. And then midway through it, he sold the people who allegedly, according to you, attacked us with a bioweapon, the largest order of beef, corn, and soybeans in our history. I mean, why are we so shitty towards Neville Chamberlain at this point? What did... comparatively. Explain that to me. Explain the old, like, it came from China, they did it on purpose. and okay, let's just say you got suckered. So up until March, you were like buying it hook and line and sinker because you had to know the best and the best of the bestie best. But then midsummer, you sell them the largest order of beef, corn, and soybeans while Americans are in food lines. You what now? You what? All right. Anyways, I understand how he's your favorite person. I just had to get that off my chest. That's a lot of fun. So thank you, trolls, for being here, including Mike Pillow.
There's pieces of software and many other components.
Wait a minute. Pieces of software? What? You're not... Pieces of software. Hold on. Where's that?
Q-Snatch.
That's right. Software.
Piece of malware called Q-Snatch.
Which is really, truthfully, what they believe it's called.
For the United States election system are not even made here in America. They're made in China.
You know, General.
No, they're not. Some of them are assembled in China. The chips are made in South Korea. Some are made in the United States. By the way, most of the made in China stuff you see is actually assembled in China. Just for the record. But keep shitting on America.
Bring up a good thing. When you talk about all these things that you just named up.
Yeah, you bring up a good thing when you talk about all these things, the things.
Everybody, when you have a cyber attack, when you attack a country and let's say it's a gas line.
Oh, like the ransomware attacks that happened under Trump, but he didn't do anything about it. But Biden just formed a ransomware task force, and now 3 of the biggest ransomware groups have disappeared. They've turned over the key to the people that they were holding ransom. You mean that? Oh, that's the other thing, too. The ransomware task force. Was there a reason why Trump couldn't do a ransomware task force? Is it just because the main targets are in Russia? Is that why? Is that the wah? Is that the woohoo? Is that the wah?
Let's say it's credit cards. Let's say a company.
Yeah, they finally took the statue guy off the screen. Oh, the third guy in this is Brandon House. He's the guy who's like grifting Mike Lindell. That dude is just under the table. He's just counting Mike Lindell's money that he's being paid for all this bullshit.
Breached. That can all be made up with money. But when you breach an election, when you take an election, you take the whole country down. That's
thank you, Mako Scuba, for the gifted subs. Bless you.
Thing you named can be traced back to November 3rd. Everything can come from November 3rd.
Everything. Everything. You know what the biggest thing that can be traced back to November 3rd, though, is? Trump's loss.
Country was taken. We are in a race against time. We are in a race.
Well, why were you... If we're in a race against time, what were you dicking around about for the last 7 months?
Much damage they can do before we get this election pulled down and get this righted.
Yeah, they're not pulling the election down. It doesn't work that way. It never will. It's not even close to possible. It's just silly. Literally, the Supreme Court, let's say they got everything they wanted. The only remedy the Supreme Court would have is either to kick it to Congress to establish a law about elections going forward, not states, the actual federal government, which is exactly what they don't want. Would be hilarious. Or for them to rule that more, precautions have to be taken next time because of suspicious activity, whatever. It'll never happen, but that's the most they could actually get. And they're not gonna see the case. The Supreme Court's gonna pass on it. But there's just no fucking way. They're not going to. But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt that they did. The resulting one-line fuck off that they would get, or the actual hearing of it where we looked at the stuff and this is crazy pants, goodbye. And if you want to do anything, then it will be up to Congress to establish more clear guidance during the next pandemic about what the limits are from state and legislatures about voting in states and yada, yada, yada. That's it. And none of this makes any fucking sense legally. It's just goofy. The reason his lawyers are saying they're going to take it to the Supreme Court, 100%. The reason why they're saying this is because that's what he's paying them to do. And they're like ambulance chasers. They're just following their moron clients' orders.
I'm going to bring stuff up here.
Good as gold. I'm going with fried egg.
I'm going to show everybody with the data and the packet captures, all the stuff we had.
Which aren't packet captures.
We did over 5 months, everybody. I extrapolated. We had the cyber experts.
That sounds naughty.
You
extrapolated? That's got a sting.
Into numbers that we can read, into real data.
Right. I took the shit that I had and turned it into real data. What?
Do an example. Before you pull this up, Logan, I want to tell everybody the conversation I had with North Dakota today. Well, first of all, for about a month and a half now, you guys, I've been going to the red states. I've been going.
Yeah, really? You haven't been going to the blue states and making headway? No? Hold on. Okay, sorry. Something in the chat.
Your Missouris, your Alabamas. I'm in Florida right now.
Your Missouris, your Alabamas, that kind of stuff.
Was all of the ground people, on the ground, just
ground people. They've all been I know a ground guy once. His name was Chuck. Sorry. So stupid.
Out there telling their legislatures and their governors and their secretaries, hey, meet with Mike Lindell's team. Let them show you the evidence. So
and those people are saying, get the fuck out of my office. Your diaper is full.
Met with these guys, and we show them that it happened in their state. You get to Missouri, they go, oh, it didn't happen here. Or Alabama, oh, it didn't happen here. And then you show them,
and then the governor of Alabama says, it didn't happen here. Can I just, fucking hell. Governor of Alabama, Lindell's claims, I guess. Let's see what that comes up. Yeah, like, that you go there and the response is magnificent. You go to your Alabamas and oh my God, it's a MyPillow ad. Oh, okay. It's just they're playing video. And this is the response. That did not happen. Mike Lindell claims hackers flipped 100,000 votes. John Merrill says the true number is 0. I remember blonde Mike Lindell. That was a long time ago. Goodbye. I don't need to buy rice-a-roni. Please quit. Alabama Secretary of State says there's been 0 altered votes in his state's 2020 presidential election results. It's a sharp rebuke to recent claims from Mike Pence and CEO and Trump backer Mike Lindell that hackers have flipped 100,000 votes in the state using Bluetooth technology. That did not happen. Secretary of State John Merrill, a Republican, an Alabama Republican.
A county, and you show them the evidence of that county. Then you go canvass. You do a canvassing, and now you got real numbers. They're going, wow, how did dead people vote?
Yeah, that's not what they're saying at all. They aren't. You didn't find any dead people that voted in Alabama that weren't alive when they voted.
non-residents vote. They're calling these phantom voters.
Nobody. And by the way, this is just shitting on military voters who didn't vote for Trump in the numbers that they were supposed to.
In the 100 or in the millions, okay?
Yeah, why say tens or hundreds of thousands? Just say millions.
50 states. Well, those dead people didn't vote, and neither did the non-residents.
That's right. They did not vote.
Live there anymore, and they really did pass.
Well, they don't live anywhere anymore, I think. I don't know. I'm no scientist, but that's the definition of being dead, I think, is not living there anymore. Wherever the fuck, and there, of course, being the Earth plane.
They just use their names, everybody. I was on a liberal station in North Dakota.
Wait, they just used their names? So these weren't, so when you say ghost votes, you're saying the voting booths aren't haunted? Shit. That's right. The deadline moves too slow at the voting booth. It's just like, God damn it. I wish they could pass out water here. I'm going to die. Join us.
I didn't know he was a hard leftist, and I get on the show.
Oh, right. We heard this story. He told this a couple times. I didn't know he was a hard leftist. I don't know who the fuck he's talking about.
And he starts attacking and asking me these crazy questions. And I said, oh, North Dakota was, you were hacked there in North Dakota too. He goes, oh, come on. And I said, yeah, they used the names. Dead people didn't vote. They just used their name. That's what this computer generated takeover did. And if we could pull up, I'm going to show examples. Why don't we pull up?
So the voter rolls from 2010 include names that aren't of people who aren't alive. He's using the 2010 thing. We watched this in absolute bullshittery. And what he said is that the Chinese used 2010 voter rolls and made the votes they printed fake votes out of that. And they did it digitally. But also they had help printing those dead people votes here in the actual halls, in the actual booths, in the actual counting centers. Chinese moles in our election, so that Joe Biden, the guy who would give nuclear submarines to Australia to protect Taiwan and the Indo-Pacific region, would get in office instead of Donald Trump, who even though he hated them over COVID, tripped over his shoelaces and filleted Xi Jinping at every turn.
Pull up North Dakota first. If you got that thing there, I want to show people the extrapolation.
The big lie. Yes, I don't know what more evidence you folks want, okay? There's blue text, there's red text, there's black text. It's all there in blue, red, black, and white. Get it? To this. This is really, and this is really. I mean, there's no, of course, footnotes or asterisks next to this that shows this. Will you just take my word for it, and let's just go to the Supreme Court right now. By the way, I guarantee, included in the Supreme Court case that they're sending out, I guarantee it includes this presentation. They sent him their keynote. Just watch the keynote. Just watch it. They didn't even watch it.
Data, if you have that, Logan.
That's not data. That is not data. Dude, it's not, that doesn't qualify. It's a keynote cell. It's not fucking data. It's a picture.
It's up.
Okay, it's up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right. Thank you. We're clear. It's a go.
So if you look at North Dakota there, Brand, what does it say for the? I'm pulling it up on mine here.
The big lie versus the truth. North Dakota.
Yeah.
Yeah, make yourself useful, Brandon. Don't just sit there counting Mike Lindell's money, you thieving bastard. Not that I feel sorry for Mike Lindell. I used to think he was a dopey, gullible sap. And now we all know, after we've watched a few of his shows, that he's actually a prick and a liar. Like of the darker stripe. You know what I mean? All tangerine attacks aside.
Trump, I can't see that far away from the monitor. What's it say?
Yeah, it's very hard. Well, I mean, it's not like, fuck, dude. You just did a 3-day symposium where you played these very facts. I have half this shit memorized. It's your fucking picture. It's North Dakota. You know you're going to talk about it. I could put it up on screen, but I can't see it. What are you spending my money on? I can't see it. I can't. Like, what is...
Here we have, well, I'll tell you, I got it right here. In North Dakota, 350,000 people voted. It's the big lie says Donald Trump won by 120,000 votes. He really won by 150,000 votes. Now, okay, but he still won, everybody. No, 6% of the votes were compromised, everybody, in that state. And I told the guy, and
you should make it redder when you say that. Like, North Dakota should start this color red and then go to like the Frank red. It should just get redder, like straight from like stop sign to Satan. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to show you an example here. Now we're going to skip over to Wisconsin. So when I meet with these states,
just skip over the rest of the states.
We show them stuff that from our packet capper, from our data that we turned into stuff you and I can read. Logan,
yeah, that turned into stuff you and I can read. What do you mean? Finger painting? Children's books?
If you can pull up, I'm going to show you guys in Wisconsin, just an example how 23,000 people, General, voted using a prison address and used the same phone number. Now, those people, and a lot of them were people we turned out as we dove into it. They're not alive anymore. They just used their names, obviously.
Oh, not only are they prisoners, but they're prisoners that are in prison for a crime that are dead for a crime they didn't commit.
Mm-hmm. And they don't live in Wisconsin.
Of course not. They're dead. There are technically right now, and I know this is going to seem crazy, but there are no dead people living in Wisconsin right now. I know you're saying, wait. Mike Lindell just said these dead people are not living in Wisconsin right now.
Oh, God. So if you can pull up that first one, Brandon.
Wisconsin.
Is that up?
Okay, now this is the one with the black shading around it, right?
Yeah, the black shading. I want everybody, you won't be able to see it, but if you look in the...
Yeah, you won't be able to see it or understand it, but...
upper right corner, it says China on there. These are the...
It says China on there. It says China on there. All right, let's see. Okay. 262-994-9050. Search. Hold on. Coming up. Let me guess, a prison. This is taking way too long. This is so stupid. Ward County Congressional District, State Senate, District Senate Assembly, regarding appeals, regular absent. Okay. School District Circuit Court Judge, Milwaukee Public School District, inactive. Where does it say China? upper left-hand corner. Let's see. Hold on. Back up 1 second. Do that again.
First one, Brandon.
Yep. Wisconsin.
Is that up?
Okay, now this is the one with the black shading around it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the black shading. I want everybody, you won't be able to see it, but if you look in the upper right corner, it says China on there. These are the attacks.
You won't be able to see it, but it says China. Jesus Christ. Hold on. It didn't do it. Hold on. 262 994 9050. Racine, Wisconsin. HTTPS wisconsinvoters.com. This is okay. Michael L. DeMarc lives there. Is he one of the people? Is it listed? I don't want to put this on the screen because that would be rude. But 3709 Haven Avenue, Racine, Wisconsin. Okay, so that's the address associated with it. Hold on. Now we'll do a lookup on that. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't want to put anybody's information on screen without checking it first. This is the address associated with that phone number. Right here. I'll show you a little picture of it. That's the house. I don't need to show the address necessarily, but that's the one when I did a reverse lookup of the phone number. That's the prison with 10,000 people in it, just so you know. Clearly, it's a serial killer and a personal friend of Mike Lindell's that has them buried under the house. It's one of the nicest, coziest prisons you've ever seen. But yeah, it does only take up one. It does have a detached garage, and even by Racine standards, is a very expensive house. That's the number down here that you see a bunch of times, over and over and over again. That's my house. Yeah, that's it. He's just telling us they all go to a prison. That's the number associated with that. On there.
The China, where they come in and they're using the voter rolls, everybody. It says right on there in the upper right. Now, if you go down to the lower left, I don't know if you can on your screen, you're going to see a phone number down there, and it ends at 9050, the same phone number for those 6 voters.
Uh-huh.
Now, Brandon, if you can go, Logan, if you can go to the next screen.
Yep, we're there.
Okay, the very top line, 23,227 voters. Those are the count there. 23,000 use that direct phone number, 262-994-9050. It tracks to a prison address.
No, it does not. It does not. This is what came up in Wisconsin when I typed in that number. That's it. That's the number. Here, I'll show you. This is the I don't want to show you the woman's name, so I'll scroll up to here. Here's the voter rolls information on there. What ward it's in, the congressional district, all that stuff. Here's the phone number, 262-994-9050. This is the address associated with it. That's this house right here, and that's it. I mean, does he think no one's going to try? Does he think no one's going to even... Does he think no one has internet? What the fuck? I mean, could you make this at least a little challenging? Mike, for fuck's sake. And by the way, we're supposed to believe that your dudes didn't fuck up, and they've just got the reference number for like a worker at one of the things, and they gave you this number. They gave you this overlap. as a source.
This is computer generated. Somebody didn't.
This is computer generated. Yeah. By it's the Idiot 5000.
Do this.
I'm not going to call that number. Those people have enough trouble.
This was generated. They took it from the 2010 census. That's where they set the bar, everybody. Now, if you go to the last,
what was it in the 2010 census? What do you mean they took it from that? Go find the 2010 census and find out where that number goes. The fuck are you talking about? You can't just make that up and leave it there. Just go, yeah, they took it from the 2010 census. No, they did not. Obviously, on the 2010 census, 10 years ago, there was a prison there. Now there's a lovely building that was a house, looks like about 3 bedrooms with a dormer. Could probably live in the, above the garage if you wanted to, if you're not ready to move out fully, but the folks are getting a little antsy about you hanging around. And apparently, it was a prison 10 years ago, but it's been this house for 35 years.
Right. And the last slide actually shows the names.
Yep, it's there.
So we have this for every state, everybody. The names that are on there. Now,
you by no means have this. The source on this is nonsense. This is a repetitive field error on your part. As somebody else is typing shit in or creating somehow like you created source code that says take everything from this field and put it in this field, put everything in this field and put this and this field and this field. And you make an error, a simple one, in this column. This references the order number of this one. So this column right here picks the name that was in this column. And this column right here, you write at the top, put the middle initial of the person if applicable. And in this one, you go put the phone number of the person. But in this one, you go accidentally, you write put the first number and then you choose a cell number by accident of one of these. And it just populates the whole fucking thing with one person's phone number on your spreadsheet. It's an idiot mistake that anybody that saw this would fix immediately. By the way, and that's me being nice and assuming they're not just doing this with, malice.
Some of these people,
malicious intent.
These names, and why don't you take it down in case some of these people do exist?
But they do, fucko. And here's a good idea. Don't put it up in the first fucking place.
The point I'm making, there's 23,000.
The point I'm making is that I'm saying these people are dead and they're liars and their numbers went to this thing, and it's not an error in our collection of data. It's I'm presenting this just flatly, just out of my ass. And if it's wrong and it fucks up somebody's life or gets them killed or gets their house robbed or a bunch of assholes show up at this house in the middle of in Wisconsin. It's not my fault. I just put a screen on. I'm just asking questions.
Names that were used. Now, let's just say, everybody, that
let's just say, okay, everybody. Come on, everybody. Say everybody. Let's just say everybody. Everybody.
Was used, and they still are alive, and they're in Wisconsin. Remember that happened too, where people got to the polls and they said, "I'm sorry, you already voted. You already voted. You guys."
Yes, and they said, "No, I didn't. Give me a provisional ballot." And they said, "Well, if you already voted, it says you already voted, but if you want a provisional ballot, we'll give you one." They went, "No," and they left because they knew they were there to commit a crime. They were Trump voters who were trying to vote twice. Trump had told them to vote twice. They voted early. Then they showed up and they were like, "Nope, yeah, it says right here you already voted." And they're like, "No, I didn't. I'm not trying to vote twice. I didn't vote. This is wrong." They didn't contact the Secretary of State. They didn't file a report with their city council or with their election officials in the state. They just tiptoed into the fog, just disappeared. Because if anybody asked them, they go, we got this. This is your signature? Oh, yeah, you know what? I forgot. I forgot. I did sign that. That's true. I did. It was 4 days ago. Yeah, but, I mean, a lot can happen in 4 days. Yeah, what? 3 days of planning to try and vote twice for Donald Trump? Yeah, we're going to kill your vote. You tried to vote illegally. We're not counting either one. You're under arrest and your vote doesn't count. And Trump loses another vote in Wisconsin.
It just happened in California in the runoff. We showed where on CNN, 300,000 votes went from a yes to a no in real time.
Yeah, because the person filling it in to what they were saying on the air changed it. Nothing changed in the state's count at all. The reporting was wrong. See, because there's not a direct conduit. I don't know if people know this, but the elector in your state, whatever they are, either a board of electors or the Secretary of State's office, does not have a direct conduit from the tallying machines to NBC headquarters. They present the numbers and often either send a fax or verbally tell someone, here's the update. Or they update the number where they are in what we send out to the public. This is the uncertified number. And they type it out. And then somebody else either retypes it to put it in the Chiron. And they fucked up. It didn't change the actual count in the state at all. As a matter of fact, if he bothered to look at all, he would recognize that the actual counting in the state never changed. It was the reporting on CNN because they typed the wrong, they flip-flopped their yes and no's because it was a binary fucking question.
Not even being shy about it anymore. They're using this computer age we live in.
Yeah, it's so brazen. Shit.
These Dominion and these Smartmatic and these machines, they stole our country, and we're not getting it back unless we do something now. We have to do something now.
And by now, we mean sometime between now and Thanksgiving. Now-ish.
I've said it before, General. Let's take the machines, melt them down, and make prison bars out of them. You know, that way we're...
Mike, plastic prison bars won't do much good. Just saying, the plastic. The machines are made out of... Dude, they're made out of plastic. Fucking plastic. And a little bit of glass. What? What are you making, a playpen?
Recycling. You know, we're recycling. But I want to show something too before.
Yeah, you do recycle plastics.
As long as we're on how big this thing and how vast this was, I want you to go to Arizona. What we're gonna pull up the screen on Arizona because that thing is coming out on Friday at 1:00.
Oh yeah, we heard it. It was. I think I have some audio from that. Hold on one second. They. Yeah, here's this one of the statements from the guy from Cyber Ninjas, and then the senator who ran the thing said, and then they had one witness who came up and and then there was some questions, and then they had an answer for those people. That's basically it in a nutshell. That was the whole thing, just in case. That was the Arizona release. They released their report. They released it. It was good.
And remember, they did an audit there, and if you pull it out, I just want to show.
Please do not pull it out.
What the real numbers are, and what that should show.
I love. Look at this. There's your data, kids, right over there. See that? Hold on. I have to move myself closer. Can I move myself? Yeah. Move myself right over here. Flipped. Asterisk. Flipped. It was flipped. What does this mean, though? What does that mean? I don't understand. So, yes, I know he won. He just won. Just say he fucking won. But what does it mean? What is this chart? I don't get it. Flipped. Asterisk. Flipped. Okay, move back over to where I was. Flipped. And okay, that says that's got an. Is there a? Hold on. Maybe it's my screen. Is there something on here? Hold on.
In Maricopa County, if you look on here, do you have it up, Brandon?
It's up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Here's the thing. There is no corresponding asterisk. I know I'm nitpicking right now. I know. I've gotten past the fact that this isn't data. That this is data like a kid's letter to Santa is data. This is shit. But there is no, I know I'm being a dick, but there is no corresponding asterisk for the flip to go to. What is it? Why did they put that on there all of a sudden? The other ones weren't flipped. It was just, they were twisted. Those were twisted. This one was flipped. The fuck?
Of course, Arizona only won by 10,000, or Biden won by 10,000 votes.
Okay, yeah, we can just settle it right there.
This is the one state, when I got up in the morning on November 4th, and I didn't get much sleep, I sat
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
And watched Arizona every day, every waking minute for 7 days for them to count a lousy 1% of their vote. And Donald Trump should have shot by and won that Maricopa by almost 180,000 votes.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, you're assuming that all the votes you made up would be for him. And most people are asserting that the divide between those votes would be fairly even, or maybe even favor Biden a little bit because they were mail-in or absentee votes. So let's say, Biden, it's 50-50, but Biden gets 48 because they're mail-in votes and you think they're all fraudulent or they should be kicked out or shouldn't be included. But Trump would actually lose more votes than Biden would in those, right? The issue, I suppose, how do I say this? The issue that I have the most is that they say that, there's one group that says that, and there's another group that says it's 50-50. I would like to hypothesize, and I will continue to push this as long as they're pushing the alternative idea, that all fraudulent votes were Trump votes, and prove me wrong. Because everybody that has been busted for voting illegally, let's see, for example, while this woman was missing, and she turned out to be dead, she was murdered by her husband, while he was pretending she was missing, he voted for Trump in her name. So the dude's going away for murder, like fucking around with a dead body, hiding evidence, and voting illegally. Of the people, as far as voting blocks go, Trump won 100% of the murdered their wife and voted for Trump in her name. Like that's a key demographic, and Trump just locked it up. So just since that's the standard, who's been actually busted? We'll have to assume that if there were an equal number of Biden voters that had voted illegally that were busted and Trump voters that were busted illegally, especially in red states, for example, then you would assume that any fraudulent votes would be a loss equally or a loss for one whichever one has the most. Well, everyone who voted illegally for, voted for Trump. I think there might have been one woman who was illegal who got busted because she thought she could vote. Didn't say who she voted for. But I'm just going to add it to Trump's total because I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary, and that's how they operate, so fuck it.
You look on the big lie, Donald Trump really won by 200 or 300 and 270,000 votes, everybody. This is massive. They didn't.
It's not massive. I mean, it's a big I mean, you've got the numbers. This part is taking up far too much of the frame, and the Arizona, for some reason, is a little small for the picture. I would bring it up bigger, or I would actually, graphically, I would make it the entirety of the frame, essentially, as best I could over on this side, and I would put the numbers inside it, the big lie, and then I would have another cell come up and say the truth like that, and then I would hashtag flipped, not a, yeah, Trump won by 200 trillion votes.
They didn't just go, okay, we're going to do a little ground cheating here. No, it was massive. This is the world we're in with these computers and with Dominion and these machines. Now I want to do one.
The red states in general didn't use Dominion machines. And in the counties that use Dominion machines, Trump won 56% of them.
Before we with these charts, you go.
Yeah, these are, and yes, technically not a chart. Not data, not a chart. Not a chart. It's a graphic. I'll give them that. Barely.
I'm in Florida right now, and I'm meeting with politicians down here. This is what I'm going state to state. It's a lot easier, by the way, General, getting headway in red states. Let me tell you, when you're in red states, they go, "It didn't happen to us," and then they show them and they go, "Well, I want to do something because
and they need to do something about it."
Yep, and here we're in Florida.
Oh yeah, he's been sitting there the whole time. By the way, we're about the halfway mark on this, and I'm out of time. I literally have done as much of this as I can fit in here, and there's so much more to do. I had all these other clips. I had Glenn Beck, Matt Gaetz flipping out, Ben Shapiro, oh God, Andrew Giuliani. Let's see. Okay, so we can do one of these, right? We got enough time. We can go a little over, not a lot, a little over. What's the shortest one? How long is this one? That's 14 minutes. Oh, there's no way. It'll take me an hour. This is, okay, so this is Australian TV, Sky News in Australia, who's basically it's a Rupert Murdoch organization, so it's no surprise that they're basically carrying the water of Fox News and Wall Street Journal. This is Biden bumbling over Afghan withdrawal. This is about the talking point that you're going to see a lot. There's a lot of talking points that we have watched die a horrible death. Remember lumber prices, and the Del Rio Bridge. There's all this stuff. Like the Biden administration, something comes up and they handle it. And something comes up and they handle it, or it was never in their control. It was outside of it, and it passes through into something else. So thanks. That's my silly Australian accent. I do got some moderators in the chat room, but they're gonna, gather around here. Oh, you want to see the Matt Gaetz thing too? Okay, I'll give a little bit of this. We don't have to do the whole thing. It's from the Bolt Report. How are you, Bruce? Bit crook, Bruce. Biden bumbling over Afghan withdrawal. This is recent. Except this is a month after. We're out, fucker. We just gave you nuclear-powered submarines. I'm still upset. Crikey.
Generals last night gave stunning evidence to a Senate hearing. Evidence confirming President Joe Biden is either a liar or that he's so confused now that his memory is shot.
Yes, it's upsetting.
Either way, Biden is fast becoming the most embarrassing president in U.S. history.
By the way, that's the fast becoming the most embarrassing president in U.S. history. Okay, no one is more embarrassing than Trump, especially for those that love him. If I may, a point of order, Mr. Chairman. Shall we play the hits for a second?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. Michigan gave us Motang. Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Soup for my family. Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? person, woman, man, camera, TV.
The Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese. Free health care for illegal. Free health care for illegal. First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the
That's right. Not since the ass force. You heard that right. You want to lean in.
First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the
Not since the ass force. Not since the ass force. But
to me, Corona means Italy.
So, but please go on. I'm sorry. Most embarrassing. Yeah.
I wonder how much longer he can stay. Because this is actually worse than embarrassing. It's dangerous.
No, it isn't. Somebody said 2,500 to stay in the. They didn't even ask about that contingency that had been floated around on the other side, and they didn't want it. They'd already made the decision. We're gonna go. Fuck it. We're out. Bye. Nobody said 2,500. They said an ancillary group. Some said 4,000. Some said 10. Somebody might have said 2,500 in a meeting, a bunch of these things, but nobody was like, that's the number, Mr. President. If we have 2,500, the country will stay. Nobody fucking told Biden at any point, and even the generals don't say this. They'd say they might have floated the idea in a meeting with other people saying other numbers or none at all as part of a greater meeting. But nobody came to Biden and said, if we have 2,500, we can just leave them there forever, and that will keep the country stable forever. Nobody fucking said that, because nobody believes that. They thought 2,500 would be a minimum to kind of stabilize things, but there was no way we were staying past the August 31st date.
When the United States last month suddenly abandoned Afghanistan.
Suddenly abandoned Afghanistan 3 months after Trump's exit date? Fuck you.
The chaos that caused was terrible.
No, the chaos it caused was already baked in. The chaos that caused. We're not supposed to stay there for fucking ever, spending $140 to $300 million a day so that you can go, God, are these guys ever going to get out of there?
The Afghan government instantly collapsed. The Taliban extremists took over without a shot being fired.
No, lots of shots were fired, dickhead. Like, of course there were shots fired. The fuck are you talking about?
In that chaos, the US left behind some 200 US citizens.
Oh, right. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. This is this is September 27th. You're going to have to cut that number in half, friend. Half of them already got out a day ago. These folks are all either in touchy situations or are trying to arrange for paperwork for their family, but they're going to get out too. The reason that they are having trouble is because no one processed the visas for their family members that are Afghans. Or they're just going to fucking stay. And by the way, not all of them are U.S. citizens, by the way. Some of them are permanent residents. Still Afghans, permanent residents. This is September 27th. The United States is aware of about 100 American citizens, so above or below. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It's 104. Yeah, 100 citizens that wanted to stay a little longer, who didn't believe we were actually going to leave. And again, if the people who got stuck behind weren't prepared to leave because they didn't think we were actually leaving, whose fault is that? It is the fault of everyone who said we're leaving and we didn't leave, including Donald Trump. Let's see. And legal permanent residents who remain in Afghanistan are ready to leave the country, a senior State Department official said on Monday. Well, they are aware of them, and they are working on it. The State Department was working to get these people on flights out of Afghanistan, said the official who briefed reporters on a condition of anonymity. Our highest priority in Afghanistan, of course, remains helping those American citizens who wish to leave the country now to do so. About 124,000 people were airlifted out of Kabul after the U.S.-backed government there collapsed last month and the Taliban took control. Since U.S. forces departed and handed over the airport, 85 American citizens and 79 lawful permanent residents have left Afghanistan on sporadic flights, according to the official. So that 200's really was like 230, and about 130 are gone, and now there's about 100 left. However, some Americans did not want to leave Afghanistan without family members who did not have the required travel documents to enter the United States, the official said. Now, what do you think the Fox News response would be to let's make her a female American who was working at the State Department, met her husband over there. They had a couple of kids. She has an Afghan husband and 2 children. And they've lived there they've been there, the kids are 12 now. She went there in 2008 where she started working for the embassy there or whatever. And she doesn't have the paperwork to bring her husband and the 2 kids here because the Trump administration hamstrung that whole fucking process. What do you think the big fight to make sure that her battle-age husband and their 2 male children can be brought to the United States? What do you think the big bum rush to get them in the country is from Fox News? The United States will soon intensify efforts to help the immediate family members of American citizens who did not have the needed documentation, the official said, but would not do so for their extended families, which could include a large number of people. I entirely understand how painful that choice may be for them, but for the matters of law and policy, up to this point, we have not extended support for expedited departure and resettlement in the U.S. for extended family members of U.S. citizens. And that's why. That's a lot of these people are trying to, they're not going to leave, and they want to bring grandma, or they want to bring their, brother-in-law, cousin, whatever, because it's going to work for the family when they come over here, blah, blah, blah. And LPRs don't even get that option. So about 200. Here's a picture of all of them, still hanging out by the airport. None of them can get a ticket. It's terrible. On the Bolt report.
And it also lost 13 military in an ISIS suicide bombing.
Right. Why did we lose them? Why? Because we had to deal with extracting embassy personnel, military personnel, and SIV eligible Afghans who should have had their paperwork done years ago, but were denied it by the Trump administration. And he set the arbitrary date of May 1st. The killings were set to start again, and we didn't want our soldiers being killed by Taliban, so we decided to prioritize Americans who wanted to leave and our embassy staff and our military staff. And so we had to send people in to cover for that while we were getting the SIV people out because we didn't want to leave them there. Now, Trump could have gotten all those people out over the last 3 years, knowing full well that we were going to get out. And anybody who'd helped us early in the war, for example, who was no longer in a working relationship with us, but we were going to get them out for their own safety. We could have done that last year, year before that.
And days later, Joe Biden was asked this question, and he lied or misremembered.
Your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't. It was split. That wasn't true.
Your military...
Okay, that's what he said. It was split. Did you hear that? You heard that, right?
Keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't.
Hold on. Your military advisors said they wanted to keep about 2,500 troops. Listen.
This question, and he lied or misremembered.
Your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline.
Your top military advisors warned against, not some of them. The premise of the question is all of them.
Did you keep about 2,500 troops?
No, they didn't. It was split.
There you go. There was not consensus to keep 2,500. Fuck you. Fuck everybody who's been playing this clip and lying about it.
That wasn't true.
Your military advisors did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops. It's been a stable situation for the last several years. We can do that. We can continue to do that.
No, no one said that to me that I can recall.
As a consensus. That's what he's talking about. Nobody on that was a military consensus. Nobody said that that's how it will work out. There's been no killings. We can keep 2,500. By the way, does anybody believe, let's see how Stephanopoulos phrases that question again.
No, they didn't. It was split.
Okay, so it was split. They were not in agreement about a number or about the fact itself. Now let's go to Stephanopoulos.
Wasn't true.
Your military advisors did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops. It's been a stable situation for the last several years. We can do that. We can continue to do that.
Right. None of his military advisors said 2,500 would stabilize the country. They all suggested that if we stayed past this timeline, we would have to add troops. 4,000 to 10,000 was the general consensus. Yeah, some said 2,500, some said 5,000. There was no idea, no one presented the idea that if we had 2,500 soldiers in there perpetually, it would be stable forever. And you're right, and the 2,500 were only stable because of the expiring ceasefire. Once the ceasefire is over, you need an extra 4,000 troops, and then another 10,000. And then we can get out in 3 months, in 5 months, in 10 months. Get fucked.
No one said that to me that I can recall.
Yes, no one said 2,500 soldiers would be enough to stabilize the country going forward.
No one said that? Well, that turns out to be absolutely false.
Does it? Really? Oh, yeah? Well, let's hear it.
The general in charge of Iraq, of Afghanistan, US operations there, he exposed that lie or that memory fail. He said that he had indeed asked for US soldiers, 2,500, to stay, and the US top general, Mark Milley, said the same.
I recommended that we maintain 2,500 troops in Afghanistan. And I also recommended earlier in the fall of 2020 that we maintain 4,500 of that.
Right. Sorry, when?
Also recommended earlier in the fall of 2020 that we maintain 4,500 at that time.
Okay, so he was meeting with Biden about this stuff when they were talking about the extraction, and Biden was like, "No, I'm not gonna pass this to another president. What the fuck are you talking about?" So 2,500 becomes 4,000, becomes 10,000.
Those are my personal views.
Those are my personal views. 2,500, 4,000, 6 months for fucking ever.
Have a view that the withdrawal of those forces would lead inevitably to the collapse of the Afghan military forces and eventually the Afghan government.
Yeah, and I do agree with that.
Right. Okay, still no lie. Nobody presented to him that 2,500 would create stability in the country or in the government. 2 million people in Afghanistan, a country of 28 million people, voted for the Afghan government last time. 2 million. And the only reason they hadn't killed anybody is because Trump made this exit deal with the Taliban. You get the fuck out by May 1st, we won't kill your people. Yeah, he said fall of 2020, Biden wasn't in office. They were meeting with the Biden administration during the transition. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that what he said was, Mr. President, I think 4,000. I read you the stuff out of Peril and the like, where they're talking about during the Obama administration when Biden was like, these fuckers they got a gold watch. They're hiding the gold watch and telling you about the chain. This is a flim flam. You're being led around. These guys will always want more troops and always want to stay. But for the record, I haven't even addressed this. This lie has been floating all around the right wing blogosphere for the last few days. And I've seen it, but I haven't, it hasn't risen to the level of it's still in my who gives a shit file largely. But this is a blatant fucking lie. What's Bolt's name? What's this fucker's name? Joe Biden. It's blah, blah, blah. Mr. Bolt. You fucking say his whole name. Mr. Bolt. Sky News, Australia. Hi, I like Australia. I'm a big fan. I have some friends. I've got a friend from Perth who's lovely. Mr. Bolt is a fucking liar. And the clips that he played prove he's a liar. Yeah, Andrew Bolt. Okay. Hey, Drew. Andy. Let's call him Andy. Andy. Yeah, fucking. I need an Australian, like, nickname for him, or a derogatory phrase. Perth is a great city. Mr. Bolt Jangles. I know my accent sucks. I'm fucking around. My real Australian accent, when I work on it, is actually quite good. But I'm not doing this for real. I'm doing it for wackiness. He's a dingo's wallaby's nuts. Andrew Bolt is a fucking liar. Andrew Bolt just played 2 clips in a row because Andrew Bolt wants you to know that Sky News wants Andrew Bolt to lie on the air in defense of Donald Trump and against Joe Biden, against the president of the United States, for no other fucking reason that they need to, like, a death by 1,000 cuts. So he's got to dig up something and try to gin it up to make it look bad. And in fact, all he ended up doing was playing 2 clips in a row that prove he's a fucking liar. Now, the other right-wingers who've been playing these clips are not playing Stephanopoulos' questions. They're just saying 2,500 troops, and he goes, I don't remember them saying that. And they're like, aha! But if you roll back and actually listen to both the lead-in questions where Stephanopoulos is saying all the military leaders, there was a consensus. And there was not a consensus. Those 2 guys agreed. Didn't mean everybody on the Joint Chiefs, agreed. So no. Andrew Bolt, you're a liar. And thank you very much for showing us what a liar you are. Sky News, hi. How are you? Good on you. Welcome. Thanks for watching. You're going to see this because Sky News pays attention to some of these things or whatever. And if you can get Andrew to stop crying, tell him that the next time he floats one of these bullshit lies, tell your editors to be more sympathetic to the lie he is creating and scissor the things down out of context more so that they can make the lie fit his narrative. Because it was a miserable fail. And Andrew, I don't know if you've been let down by your editors or what.
So Biden had lied or simply could not remember the most critical...
No, Andrew, you lied. Andrew, we just saw the tape. We both saw what the general said, and we saw what Biden said. We saw George Stephanopoulos' questions. We saw Biden's answers to George Stephanopoulos' questions. Then you showed what the general said. Now, if there's missing context with the generals where they said, I spoke to him in this room saying 2,500 would create stability, blah, 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 and we all thought that. There was consensus among the generals that everybody believed it. Play it. Fucking, what a drongo. Yeah, thank you. Does that work? Is that a good one?
Given to him, but by at least 3 of those senior...
At least 3? You mean 2?
Generals, advice that could have stopped the Taliban from totally conquering Afghanistan.
Yeah, which means us staying there forever and getting our soldiers killed to support a government and a military that will not stand up on its own. Fuck you. Australia has 2,500 troops. They're good fighters. Australians are amazing people. Send 2,500 of your own fucking soldiers. If you can hold down a base that large, we'll let you keep the gear, you drongo.
Now the top general, Mark Milley, he said the result was that the fight against Islamist terrorism had just got harder because of this, more dangerous.
We must continue to protect the United States of America and its people from terrorist attacks coming from Afghanistan.
Wait a minute. What'd you slice out of there? Because he said you can, if I recall correctly, which we believe we can do and we have the capability of doing. Well, that's an interesting slice. Then what do you follow that shit up with?
and its people from terrorist attacks coming from Afghanistan. That mission will be much harder now.
That's it? Dude, you can't do a flash fucking edit like that. Look at this. Look at this shit. I didn't even know they had fiber in Australia. Hold on.
To protect the United States of America and its people from terrorist attacks coming from Afghanistan. That mission will be much harder now.
Did you, Andrew, Booby, did you see the edit before the segment? Because you have I'm just saying, you have a serious look on your face.
Joining me is Mark Christian, a retired Air Force colonel who headed the
a current Christian
National Air and Space Intelligence Center, which advised the U.S. Defense Department on emerging threats. Mark Christian, thank you for joining.
He did? Why did he leave? Why do they no longer take his advice? Was he part of the advice that kept us in Afghanistan 15 years past the completion of the mission? Or something like that?
Again, the evidence here is not just that Biden ignored his top generals on Afghanistan, and his right as commander-in-chief to do that, but that he lied.
Yeah, I didn't lie. You lied. Andrew, you lied. You're lying now. You lied before. You showed us the clips. You're a liar.
American people about what had been told, or he simply couldn't remember. How serious?
No, he said it was split. There was no consensus. And nobody said 2,500 will stabilize a country. That was the question. And your generals, what he said. We heard it. You heard it. Everybody heard it, except Andrew Bolt, who has shit in his ears.
What's this for you?
For the United States, it's very serious because you've lost the ability to
spend $300 million a day and pour it into the pockets of Northrop Grumman and Boeing and Raytheon. You mean that? We've lost a key opportunity for the military-industrial complex. This is terrible. We'll do Matt Gaetz. Okay.
Inside their own homeland.
Thank you.
They've lost the capability to, stage operations inside the country, and they've lost.
Yeah, we don't want the ability to stage operations inside the fucking country. That's not on the table. We lost the ability to pour $300 million worth of good money after bad every fucking day.
They would have to do everything from overfly essentially unfriendly countries to the United States.
Yeah, what are they not going to give us snacks while we're waiting?
With or without permission.
War is hell.
In order to strike them in Afghanistan if the need should arise. So it's a very serious issue at this time.
Yeah, why would we want to strike people in Afghanistan from a distance when we can just put our soldiers there and wait for the bad guys to kill them? Is Caden in Australia? Probably. He's in Afghanistan.
Now, there are two issues here, of course. One is the strategic decision.
There's two issues here. The first one is I'm a liar. And secondarily, you're full of shit. Which one's important? I don't know.
Where he overruled his generals and abandoned Afghanistan and left it more vulnerable.
Abandoned. Trump set a May 1st date to get everybody out, but we're abandoning it. Sure, okay.
In the manner that you suggest. What about the other issue? What trust can the US military have in their commander-in-chief when Biden tells the world in a TV interview that they didn't give him the advice that they should have?
No, Andrew. See, Biden doesn't get in trouble for your lie. You're going to be very frustrated because this is not going to stick. It's not going to carry any weight. It's going to dangle around in right-wing talking points for about 4 days, and then it's going to evaporate. It'll become part of the underlying sort of the flow of lies. It'll enter into the kind of, let's lie, this lie. I got like 9 lies, and it'll become part of the Gish Gallop of right-wing talking points, but nobody's going to give a fuck because it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Was Biden even in office yet? He was getting briefings from these generals after the election when he'd won in the transition. That's what I think the late fall thing means. That's me giving him the benefit of the doubt. I have no doubt that that guy was giving Trump the same information for the last 4 years, which is why we never left.
They actually did.
Well, Andrew, that's an interesting question. When the generals, the way it works is the chairman of the Joint Staff and the generals that are part of the Joint Staff, they are merely an advisory body to the...
Right. And their advice for the last 20 years is stay more troops, stay more troops, stay in more troops and to stay. And if we're going to stay, we need more troops. And if we want to stay, we're going to need more troops. And every president was like, we're getting out, we're leaving, pack your shit, burn the stuff, leave it, we're getting out. And then every time they turn around, the general, more troop, and we're staying for more troops, and more money, and more troops, and more lives, and 64 dead during the Trump administration, but nobody gave a fuck about those people. Because we gotta stay, forever and ever, and we gotta stay. Yeah, that's what these fuckers said every time.
To the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States. The real chain of command is the president to the combatant commander, which is General McKenzie for U.S. Central Command in Florida, who oversees the forces in the Middle East. So,
thanks for checking your notes.
Those generals told him that they needed 2,500 or 4,000 troops to maintain some semblance of order or support for the Afghan national forces.
No. That was not George Stephanopoulos' question. He said 2,500 troops for stability in the country. To create a stable Afghanistan, we need to leave 2,500 troops in the country. Now, bring those generals back out in front of the Congress and have somebody ask them, are you saying that the presence of 2,500 troops in Afghanistan, if they had never been taken out, would have created a stable government and a stable Afghanistan? Well, sure. How? Well, after the ceasefire ended, a couple dozen of them would have gotten murdered or blown up, and then we would have used that as an excuse to bring in 4,000 troops and then another 10,000 troops. That's how. Does Australia have a navy? Of course they do. They're an island.
And I would believe that they would have told him that.
Yeah, you would believe that they have told him. It's interesting because they didn't. They told him they wanted 2,500 to 4,000, somewhere around there. It would take that. I don't know, but can you guarantee me it'll stabilize the country after the ceasefire's over? No. Well, then fuck it. We're getting out. $300 million goddamn dollars a day. A day. 64 human lives in the last 4 years for a government that can't stand on its own and a military that can't do anything without us.
It would... Because if they didn't do it...
Yeah. Say that again, sorry?
It would, because if they didn't do it, they knew that essentially the Afghan forces, first of all, they hadn't been paid in 7 to 8 months. And the way the Afghans work and their culture, if you're not getting paid and you're not feeding your family, then they'll switch sides. And that's exactly what happens.
Jesus Christ. So we're paying mercenaries to fight their own civil war when they won't. And the minute we stop paying them... Sorry, Rick. Did I miss your joke? Or did I skip it? Did I not see it when it went by? Sorry.
This because of the corrupt military, the corrupt politicians, the whole infrastructure is
corrupt.
Yeah,
the whole infrastructure is corrupt. The military's corrupt. The politicians are corrupt. So why don't we just stay there forever? And yes, Australia does have a navy, indeed. Why don't we just stay there forever and dump hundreds of millions of dollars a day into Afghanistan? What the fuck are you talking about? Where is the argument here? Who says that? Who says that's the plan?
And as soon as the paychecks stop coming, their loyalty fades quickly. And of course, the U.S. troops would have been able to put pressure on the Afghan government and in order to help make sure that they were paid. But obviously that didn't happen.
What do you mean the troops would put pressure on the Afghan? What, are you going to, hold Ghani at gunpoint so he can't flee the country with $168 million? You out of your fucking mind? What is this? How is this an argument? Andrew, congratulations. I thought you were the dumbest person on this show, and this guy's giving you a run for your money. Congratulations.
So there were also intelligence people that would have been able to recognize that the Taliban and the other ISIS forces were building up. And if they didn't know that, then that would be a serious, serious intelligence failure. And I would find that very hard.
But that's the point here. That's the point for me, that Joe Biden made his generals look like clowns. Apparently, they didn't tell me that we need to do all these basic things that you're talking about, and they did.
No. You don't get to paraphrase when you're accusing someone of lying. That's a fairly hard and fast rule. If you say, you said, and then you paraphrase what I said to reshape what I said into a lie, then you are a liar. Just like Andrew Bolt.
They did, and now they've dumped him in the mess.
No, they didn't. They did not. They did not promise stability. They did not, as a whole, come to him and say, we've all talked, 2,500 troops would keep Afghanistan stable forever. We're just going to do it on our own. Fuck May 1st. We're just going to stay. We should stay forever. And by the way, that doesn't mean Biden's going to say yes. But let's just say they all came and said that, because that was the question that George Stephanopoulos presented. Biden said it was split, and nobody said 2,500 would give you stability. And then the clip he plays, the guy's like, 2,500. I also said 4,000. Jesus.
One last thing. The US has had Afghanistan lost, that chaos at the airport.
We didn't lose in Afghanistan, fucko. We left. We were shoring up a government and a military. Not our job. We left. The Afghan government lost. We were paying them to be winners. That's ridiculous.
There, 13 soldiers killed in an ISIS bombing outside the airport. You've had US citizens left behind, lots of weaponry left behind as well for the Taliban, an increased terrorist...
No, it was left behind for the Afghan military. They just chose not to use it, but we weren't going to steal the guns out of their hands when the Taliban was encroaching on the bases and leave them weaponless. What the fuck are you expecting?
As a result, and on top of all that, the US then bombed what it wrongly thought was the car of a terrorist, instead killed an aid worker and 7 children.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the only person in this fiasco who has been jailed or even lost the job is a Marine colonel who filmed this video demanding accountability and is now in the brig. Here he is.
Yeah, he superseded the chain of command. You can't have people in the military doing that. It's a dangerous precedent. That's what's going to happen to you. We've all seen that part of it. So, and again, he's serving. So until they kick him out, I'm not going to mock a member of the military who's serving on the ground anywhere. Just policy I have.
How do you feel about that colonel being the only one in jail or even out of a job?
Well, sir, the American military takes a oath of allegiance to the Constitution of the United States, unlike other countries that take other allegiances. And so he has every right to ask those questions. And
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. It's insubordinate. Of course he doesn't have that. You can't have the military split on orders and airing it in public. There are rules about that. Hal looking into Sky News Australia, they're owned by the Murdoch Group. Yeah, I know.
Be in the brig.
They got a 1-week suspension because of COVID misinfo. I'm surprised they're still on.
He should be able to ask his...
Oh, thanks, Tiaki. Yeah, I even if I disagree with somebody who's serving, on the ground, I'm not gonna, they can just have their say, even in this case. But as far as the policy, you're out of your fucking mind. Do you think this guy, if he had people serving under him, if he'd let them live stream what he said to them in meetings and say, this guy's full of shit, he wants me to do this? No fucking way. Do you even have a military if people can do that? Are you out of your goddamn mind? You joined the military to follow orders, to carry them out honorably. He wasn't being asked about an illegal order. He wasn't being told to do something illegal.
Commanders and the chain of command. Why? What happened? Why did this happen? Why did this operation fail the way it did?
It didn't fail the way it did. It succeeded the way it did. We're out. We got 124,000 people out. 13 people had to die. We were in there for 20 fucking years. If you're calling this a failure, then you have to call last year a total failure, and the year before that, and a year before that.
They basically cut and run. That's what happened. And there should be a lot of accountable senior officers, colonels, generals, certainly politicians, and certainly the National Security Council and the rest of them. They have a lot to answer for. Whether they'll ever get the answers, I suspect.
No, because Trump set a date of May 1st. We pushed it 3 months and we got the fuck out. And we've been trying to get out for 10 years. 10 years.
A lot.
I think you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, Mark Christian, I'm as cynical as you are. Thank you so much for your time.
Now, the word you're looking for is stupid. Okay, now, let's see this. Hold on.
America's top
boring. All right, yeah, so this is Matt Gaetz. You asked for it. By popular request, I'm staying on late again. Damn it. I was going to get out early tonight, but I had to do it. Here we go. Matt Gaetz. Just trying to draw any attention away from the fact that he just hired a huge team of lawyers expecting a scorched earth lawsuit, like legal problem coming his way.
Gaetz is recognized.
February 26, 2020, House Armed Services Committee, General Mark Milley. We know we're not going to defeat the Taliban militarily, and they're not going to defeat the government of Afghanistan militarily. You really blew that call, didn't you, General?
Well, they didn't beat it militarily, dumb fuck. They didn't. The Afghan government stood down and the president fucked off. He wasn't murdered by the Taliban. He left.
I believe that that was a issue of strategic stalemate, and that if we had remained in Afghanistan with the advisory levels of effort, then the government of Afghanistan.
Well, that's an interesting answer to a question. It's just not one I asked. You spent more time with Bob Woodward on this book than you spent analyzing the very likely prospect that the Afghanistan government was going to fall immediately to the Taliban, didn't you?
Not even close.
Yeah, that's, I mean, he's using by the way, Bob Woodward and Robert Costa would like to thank you for selling more copies of their book.
Oh, really? Because you said right after Kabul fell that no one could have anticipated the immediate fall of the Ghani government. When did you become aware that Joe Biden tried to get Ghani to lie about the conditions in Afghanistan?
He didn't get him to lie. He was telling him, stand up and be a president or your government's going to fall. No one believes in you. But, I mean, you know more about lying than I do, so in deference.
Did that in July. Did you know that right away?
I'm not aware of what President Biden...
You're not aware of the phone call that Biden had with Ghani where he said, whether it is true or not, we want you to go out there and paint a rosy picture of what's going on in Afghanistan. You're the chief military advisor to the president. You said that the Taliban was not going to defeat the government of Afghanistan militarily.
They didn't. They didn't. They did not. They didn't even militarily beat the Afghan soldiers. The Afghan soldiers handed their guns over and went home. The Taliban didn't militarily beat the Afghan government. The Afghan government fucked off.
Which, by the way, they cut through them like a hot knife through butter. And then the president tries to get Ghani to lie.
Sorry, they cut through them like a hot knife through butter?
Stand militarily, which, by the way, they cut through them like a hot knife through butter. And then
well, that's because they weren't... butter doesn't fight back. There was no fight.
The president tries to get Ghani to lie. When did you become aware of that attempt?
Well, there's two things there, Congressman, if I may. One...
Yeah, if I may address you as Congressman, I know it won't be much longer, and we don't know what your inmate number will be, so I'll just call you Congressman.
What I said was the situation was stalemate, and if we kept advisors with there, the government of Afghanistan and the Army would have still been there. That's what I said. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But
it seems wrong now with
well,
the Taliban
we withdrew all the
question for Secretary Austin. Secretary Austin, are you?
Yeah, whatever you do, don't let him actually answer the question. And I was about to say it makes you look like an asshole, but you're doing such a good job on your own.
Capable of assessing whether another has the will to fight.
No, we're not, and that's the point that the chairman.
Yes, we don't have a heart X-ray that shows people's will to live. And do you have a ray or a special pair of goggles that soldiers can put on to see if the heartbeat of democracy beats within their bosom? Do you have one of those? Did we leave it behind? Does the Taliban now have our democracy beats within the bosom of these people X-ray goggles?
Oh, yeah.
That's just like an incredibly disappointing thing for the Secretary of Defense to simply say, I can't assess whether someone has the will to fight, but it is consistent with your record. I mean, during the Obama administration, I think they gave you about $48 million to go train up some folks in Syria to go take on the Assad government. And I think your testimony was that only 4 or 5 survived first contact with the enemy. So what confidence should this committee have in you, or should the country have in you, when you've now confessed to us, and whether it's the swing and a miss in Afghanistan that General Milley talked to the Senate about yesterday, total failure, or whether it was your failures?
I don't know what the swing and a miss he's referencing on, but I love sports analogies when people are living and dying. It's so useful.
Syria, you don't seem capable to look at a fighting force and determine whether or not they have the will.
Well,
is that an embarrassment?
Well, the people in Syria, they were overwhelmed by Syrian and Russian forces. That's not about will, I guess. They retreated because they were losing. This is totally different.
Congressman, that the end result was the SDF that we stood up that was very, very instrumental in turning the tide of battle up in Syria.
Oh, yeah. Turned it so much. You've got Assad in power in Syria. You got the Taliban in power.
We weren't seeking regime change. Or was Trump seeking regime change and we just add this to his fails?
Afghanistan. I mean, where have you been?
The focus was ISIS, Congressman, and those forces had significant effect on the ISIS network.
It just seems like you're chronically bad at this, and you have admitted that, I guess, which is to your credit. But
yeah, that's what he said. You think at this point, does Matt Gaetz just repeat things that were said in bed to him into the congressional record?
You know, when people in the military, like Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, stand up and demand accountability, when they say that you all screwed up, when they point out that General Milley's statement that that the government of Afghanistan is not going to get defeated by the Taliban,
which they weren't. They were not. I don't know how many times we have to tread this fucking water. Milley, would anybody on that panel go, well, technically the Taliban did not beat the Afghan government. They left. They were failing. 2 million people in the country voted in the last election. 2.
He ends up in the brig, and you all end up...
Yeah, because we have a chain of command, we have protocol, we have, unbecoming of an officer kind of behavior. We want to make sure that people aren't just like live streaming their gripes with their superior officers. If we want to have, I don't know, a functioning military.
In front of us, and your former employer Raytheon ends up with a lot of money, and we have...
Well, they obviously have less money because we're out of Afghanistan. See, the Raytheon thing, that Raytheon jab would work if we were still in Afghanistan and still pouring good money after bad there. I've heard this from, like, left-wing talkers, from, allegedly left-wing, like Russell Brand, but also, like, the Young Turks and stuff. It's like, they seem to be throwing around this military-industrial complex thing without giving Biden credit for ending it. Like, there's not an ancillary force, there's not secondary little things. Done. Fucking done. If you're going to talk about anybody pulling the pacifier out of the mouth of the military-industrial complex, the gold medal goes to Joe Biden. Period. End of story. Fuck you.
Cash and blood and credibility into a Ghani government that was a mirage. It fell...
Yeah, Trump did that for 4 years and you didn't give a shit. He was pouring that money into the Ghani government. He even said at his rally a couple times that he always knew it was a it was a paper tiger. It would fall apart as soon as he left. It would fall. It was shitty. Yeah.
Immediately. And while the guy sitting next to you was off, talking to Phil Rucker and was off doing his thing with Bob Woodward, we were buying into the big lie.
The last 4 years, we've been the big lie. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry the election came along and Trump's lie about actually winning became the big lie. And we had to use that phrase because now, it used to be your whole bullshit story about Nestor.
Lie that this was ever going to be successful and that we could ever rely on the Afghanistan government.
So what's your argument? That we should still be there, fucko?
For anything at all.
For anything at all. For anything at all. And by the way, whether he knows it or not, Matt Gaetz is arguing for Biden's response, Biden's removal of troops completely.
Kind of gave up the game earlier when you said you wanted to address elements of your personal conduct that were in question. We're not questioning your personal conduct. We're questioning.
Well, you don't read the briefs, so you wouldn't know. You haven't even read Peril. You've just used it as a prop. I read it. It's good.
In your official capacity, going and undermining the chain of command, which is obviously what you did. You've created this.
No, the guy who posted the videos now in the brig, he undermined the chain of command. Do you know how chains work? They have links. They go in a direction. There's usually some sort of primary end and response end. They're not just connecting chains, I suppose.
Did not undermine the chain of command in any manner, shape, or form.
You absolutely did. And it
not.
Well,
how? How the fuck did he undermine the chain of command? He's the top military advisor to the president.
You know what? You said yesterday.
You know what?
That you weren't going to resign when senators asked you this question. And I believe that you guys probably won't resign. You seem to be very happy failing up over there.
Dude, you do realize you'll be resigning soon. I mean, this asshole was just looking for a job at Newsmax because he knows his days are numbered in Congress. Dude is going to be on trial for sex trafficking a minor and giving her drugs. Drugging and having sex with a minor. Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course she was on drugs. Anyone would have to be on drugs to have sex with Matt Gaetz. That's not the point. It's illegal and morally wrong.
But if we didn't have a president that was so addled, you all would be fired. Because that is...
Sorry. Excuse me. You just made the argument that the Ghani government's been bullshit for years and that the president who was in there for the last 4 fucking years, who did nothing about this, who ran on, "You fired," and it isn't the addled one. Sorry, are we going for addled at this point?
And boy, that was like a lightning rod went off. First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the illegal. Buramizia. To me, Corona means Italy. Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill.
I don't know. For those of you that may be confused by that last quote, Winston Churchill was at no time in Mary Poppins. Yes, and a lightning rod went off. It's just like that.
And boy, that was like a lightning rod went off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know. What was that about? Sorry, you were saying something about addled?
You deserve. You have let down the people who wear the uniform in my district and all around this country, and you're far more interested in what you're...
Yeah, hold the book up again. That really worked. I thought it was working. I think we all support it. That was good, right? Everybody on the team, Matt, we love that. That was great. When you held up the book, I thought, I mean, The third time we were like, okay. But the first time it was like a bayow. But you did hold it up right side up, which is better than Trump did with the Bible in front of the burned out church. I will give you credit for that. But then, of course, when you held it up, it looked like you were selling it. And every time you held it up, it sold more copies. I don't know what you were going for, but great job, boss. Great job.
Uniform in my district and all around this country, and you're far more interested in what your perception is and how people think about you in Insider Washington books than you care about winning, which this group is incapable of doing.
What? Sorry. Then you care more about winning than what?
Insider Washington books than you care about winning, which this group is incapable of doing.
Oh, which this group seems incapable of doing. So the problem with Afghanistan isn't that we left, it's just we didn't win. Now, I would argue that the only win is having the maturity and strategic realization that staying is fucked up and winning is getting out, leaving, letting that country. There's a lot of countries that have terrorists in them, that are threats to the world, that we are not currently having multiple military bases in, putting our troops in harm's way, on the rando, just having them park there as targets. Right? But to Matt Gaetz, the only version of winning is we stay forever until the Taliban meets Trump's standards for leaving, his conditions on the ground, which was no Al-Qaeda can ever be given safe haven in the country. The Taliban said they agreed to that, but how do you prove it? You're going to take their word and leave? Wasn't that what we were doing? Wasn't that what the May 1st date was? We were taking their word for it. Okay, yeah, totally. No more Taliban, no more Al-Qaeda. You got it. So if we are taking their word for it, and then they do it again, what do we do? Reinvade? Strafe bomb the place? Start another Afghan war? Jumpstart another 20-year war? Or are we just going to stay forever because you can't prove a negative? They could never prove a negative, that there are none. So we assume that there are some, and we will always assume there are some, and so we're staying forever. This, and by the way, this was sweet. This goofy fucker. The fact that he's got the nerve still to bring up that other people should resign. And by the way, that's how they do. They make it a wash. This is a rubber ball, your glue kind of tactic, and it works in broad strokes a lot of times. It doesn't work legally, and it certainly doesn't work when where the rubber hits the road as far as personality and elections and shit like that. But in general, it can kind of bat stuff back down. It's a good defense for a short time. You're the most morally reprehensible. No, you're the most morally reprehensible. You're morally reprehensible. Like, that's how they do it. You're a violent felon with a record. You're a violent felon with a record. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. That's basically what you are. Hal started a movement. We should all be emailing his district and the GOP demanding to be censured from committees at least while under investigation. This is insane. I agree. It's the question is, does he deserve to be on committee asking these questions? No, I would say no. Does it hurt him more than it helps? Yeah. This goes into that zone of like Trump attacking rhinos and Fox. Knock yourself the fuck out. But I do think you're absolutely right. Anthony says it, and I think you're absolutely right. Matt Gaetz, after all the Mike Lindell stuff, sorry, Mike, Matt Gaetz gets today's 5 eggs. That's right.
5 eggs.
That's right. You're going to have to
eat 2 eggs a day. 5 eggs in a month. 5 eggs.
That's right. Matt Gaetz gets 5 eggs from everybody at his house.
5 eggs.
No, we don't throw
5 eggs in a month.
That's right. He just gets the 5 eggs. The award given for the most rotten bullshit presented in public. 5, because these eggs we're talking about are rotten.
5 eggs.
So, congratulations to Matt Gaetz for the last award you will receive as a free man.
5 eggs.
Which is, we all know how
5 eggs.
That's right. How disgusting you are.
Eat 2 eggs a day.
Yes, that's good advice. But whenever you have rotten eggs, Matt Gaetz gets
5 eggs in a month.
That's right. He gets 5 eggs for this month. He's the winner of the 5 eggs award. We do now have a 5 eggs hat and t-shirt. The hat on the Twitch channel, if you go to my store there, is pretty sweet. A couple people have it. You get some funny looks. It's pretty awesome. It's good stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go. I was gonna cut it short, and then today I went long again, and I'm trying to fix it. But at least I managed to stop by 6 instead of going another hour. So count your blessings, and I love you guys, and thank you for hanging out, and thanks again for helping us hit 25K. Then next 100K, we'll have a party at 50 and 75 for sure. But with that 100K, let's do it. If Rudy could do it, I mean he bought him, but I want real people. I want real people. Subscribing to the YouTube channel and on Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime, please subscribe on Twitch. Doesn't cost you a dime. It would be a lovely gift. You also can do it without Amazon Prime, and it's not even that expensive. It just helps. It's just a little way you can help the show. But thank you guys for all your support. Much love. And thanks for the new follows as well. And we appreciate the love we were getting from the trolls today. We got more thumbs down than I think we've ever gotten, which is fantastic. That'll really spread us out into that algorithm. It's very exciting. Yes, it is disco time. Patreon number 416. Love you, Rexmo. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Yes, it is dancing time. Dancing. Here comes the credits. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, sorry. By the way, I'm back. Sorry. False alarm. Tomorrow I'm on, it's Thursday, so I'm on an hour later, right? 4 o'clock my time. So just reminding you. Okay. All right. Bye.